Hello, everybody. We're gonna get started here real soon. We got Ash Guy. Ash Guy, how's it going?
Oh, it's going.
Oh, my own voice. That's ugly.
You know what? I could just bring this up now.
Yo, I watched that Alien movie. That shit's good.
Yeah, I need to see it. Like the biggest criticism I see from people is like, oh, it's like the Aliens is Force Awakens, and I'm like, Force Awakens is fine. So I'll go see this. I bet I'll like this.
Fucking great.
You guys can't hear me? Check. Can you hear us? You could, Christian. You could hear yourself, right?
I heard. Yes.
I heard us a second ago. Hang on.
All right. Yeah. Okay. There we go.
Yeah, I hear us.
All right. Everyone else is saying they can hear us as well.
I was checking my own stuff.
Maybe it's a you problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I give it a 4 or 5 on Letterboxd because there's some bad CG there that I can't just get past. It's just bad. It's bad CG used in the bad way, in the wrong way. So I was like, ugh. I saw a groan and another dude right beside me also groaned when he saw that same thing. It's like, oh shit.
Okay. I think we are looking pretty good. I should tweet and check the music.
I mean, I think Force Awakens is okay. But also, this one is better than Force Awakens. This is Alien.
Okay.
Revolution.
Yeah, I believe that too.
This is very well done.
Yeah, let's get this over with.
It's good tension.
Let's see
I like it
here.
more than the. I think this is the third. The
Hey,
third best
you
one.
guys hear me?
You guys hear that?
Start cheering
Yes. Yep.
now.
Yes, we hear that. After Alien and Alien 3.
I didn't have time to go to the movies, so me and Steph watched Alien the other night, and that movie still very good.
That movie is so fucking good. It's
Really good. And then people are like, which one do you like better, Alien or Aliens? And I'm like, I'm 41. I don't have to choose. I can just like both. I can just like the rules to just like both a lot.
Man,
and I don't have
isn't
to think
it
about it. Yeah.
Isn't it great to like things?
It's just better to like
It's
things
just-
and not be like, well, let's pit these things against one another.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Let's see here.
Yeah, there we go. If someone sees 40, that's correct. I'm a man. I got blood pumping through my veins. Oh, that was Alex Jones. I was thinking, who the fuck says that?
You're always thinking Alex Jones.
That's true.
Okay. I think that I am good.
I am good.
Same.
All right. Let's see here.
I forgot, Your Honor. I ate a big chili.
There's the rundown. How's you start the show? Okay, yeah.
Do
Do you want to start? Or do you want me to start it?
Yeah, do you want to kind of start it? You want to kind of like do like
Yeah,
half
that was
host? You
better
can kind of
than you,
co-host and stuff.
I'll be Mike for the
All right.
beginning.
I love it. Okay, well then I will count us
you're
in.
right
You'll hear
there.
the music and you'll know when to go. What's that, Christian?
No, I was saying that he's right there to be like it's 99.99% of
Oh
the
yeah,
population.
it's 101%. He's got more because he's the older brother. All right, I'm gonna count us in. You good, Ash guy?
Yep.
All right, here we go. In 5, 4, 3.
Hey, you guys hear me? Start cheering now. Yeah, let's get this over with. Yeah.
Woof woof. Hi, I'm AJ Minotti, and I'm a Nintendog.
Hi, I'm Jeff Grubb, and I am a Nintendog.
We are the last of the Nintendogs.
Ah, ruff, 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 ruff. Ah, ruff, ruff, ruff.
On this week's show, the Nintendo Museum Direct. Is Nintendo Switch 2 production beginning soon? And Gamescom opening night live was today. But first, Jeffrey Grubb, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Ash Guy. Glad you're here. Thanks for doing this. Appreciate it. Mike is in Germany, if everyone's wondering. We know I listened to half of that bombcast they recorded from Jan's hotel room. he's stepping in it left and right over there, just trying to
really?
get himself
Good.
canceled
Good.
and deported, just
Good.
doing everything he can. Both him and Dan actually are kind of in a competition, but I think Mike's in
There's
the
a
lead.
buddy movie if it ever existed.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. It sounds
Deadpool
like
Wolverine got nothing on that.
sounds like they're having a really good time though. Happy for them. They got to go to opening night live, which I watched today for work, and you guys can watch that talk over on Giant Bomb. But I don't know. I'm doing good. School's starting. That's kind of taking up a lot of the mental capacity over here. How about you, Edge Guy?
Yeah, we got school. Walt's first soccer game is this weekend.
Oh, wow.
It was in the 60s today. It's like fall's already here.
Oh, I love it. I'm very happy that because it's like, honestly for me, it is throughout the summer when it's hot, it is basically like I go into mental hibernation, like the real Jeff just disappears, and then the second it goes like from like 67 to like 66, it's I gasp and wake up like, oh, where have I been? Where am I? I'm back alive now. So I'm feeling real good over here. I like that quite a bit. It's probably going to get hot again, so I'm not going to get my hopes up too much.
This weekend.
Yep.
Back in the 80s.
Yep, that sucks. But whatever. It's nice just to have a little reminder of what being alive and human feels like.
Yes.
Yeah, opening night live did happen. I did the rundown. I didn't like throw it on there because there just wasn't a lot of stuff for like Nintendo related that was in the opening night live.
Almost noticeably so.
Yeah, right. And that's not true for like Gamescom as a whole. I think they've it is true for Gamescom. They mentioned like there might be some stuff at PAX, and that seems to be where Nintendo's focusing. They're focusing on PAX instead of Gamescom, and they're basically back to back. That's one. Gamescom's this week. PAX is next weekend. The weekend after this one. So that makes some sense in terms of like what's playable. Nintendo also just doesn't have a lot of games to talk about in this moment. They did a direct a little bit ago, and then they did a direct this week. We'll talk about that in a second. But I don't know. What'd you think of opening night live if you had a chance to peruse any of the trailers?
I was able to watch it live, actually. I thought it was solid. The funny thing is, this is the first time in history I've come away from a video game presser, and the thing I'm most excited about is a TV show.
The TV show looked really good.
Secret Level looked shit hot.
I think it looks awesome.
Real good.
Yeah.
Like Captain N for the modern age.
Yeah.
With Mega Man still. And I love Blur Studios' work, so very, very excited about that. And also like Tim Miller, like, oh, what a softie.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, you're like gaming daddy now. Look at you.
Right.
I just want to give you a hug.
And like I know exactly what like that emotion he's feeling of like, God, all this stuff means so much to me, and I've worked so hard on it, and I finally get to show it to everybody. He could barely choke out the words like that were written on the teleprompter for him, and of course I was like feeling for him. That was pretty good. Also on the Bombcast, Mike's like, all these tears better be worth it. This better be good. And so of course he gets his Mega Man.
Mega Man.
He gets Mega Man. He's like, I'm just gonna
like
watch
the
that
Bessie
episode.
Mabies.
I'm like, you piece of shit. Just watch the Mega Man episode. You sack of manure. But
now, let me ask you real quick. We kind of saw like a sizzle of like some of the games included. We saw Warhammer. We saw Mega Man. We saw Pac-Man. We saw Kratos. Aside from, I guess, Outer Worlds is in there, but like not much from Microsoft and nothing from Nintendo. Is that like that stand out to you?
I mean, it stands out only in that it's obvious that they're absent, because you would expect like, oh, if you're doing a video game thing, what are the things you want to get? You would want to get things from those companies, but then it doesn't stand out because, of course, like for one thing, I think Microsoft is like, well, we're going to probably try to make bigger TV shows. I know they had a fizzle with or something kind of fall apart
Halo?
with Halo, but and then it really worked with Fallout. So they're like, well, we've seen both sides of the spectrum. We know we can find hits. We know what that takes. We're probably going to focus on that. And then Nintendo is not going to show up unless this is, I don't turn into the biggest thing in the world, right? Yeah. And
I feel the same. Like if this hits, like, will we see Master Chief in season 2 or Marcus Phoenix or something? And
I think that would be fantastic. Again, I think this show looks really good. And just as a reminder for people who maybe didn't see this, Secret Level is an anthology television show on Amazon Prime Video that will start airing in December, I think, November or December of this year. It is from Tim Miller, the director of Deadpool. He's been working on it for 3 years. The anthology series is each episode takes place in the world of a different real-life actual video game, including Armored Core with Keanu Reeves, apparently. It looks really, really good. So it looks promising. But yeah, there were like a lot of big names in there, but I'm not surprised we don't see Nintendo. Now, I hope we see Nintendo. I hope this does become huge. And in season 2 or 3, this is where some of those smaller properties I think could thrive, because Nintendo obviously is going to work with Sony Pictures on Zelda and Illumination on Mario. But come on, you're not going to make an Earthbound movie, probably. You're probably almost certainly not going to make Star Tropics or Punch-Out. These are things
like,
that would be
feels like where
awesome.
you either put Metroid or F-Zero in this, like given the aesthetic of kind of the general thing.
I think
like,
Metroid
those
is
are the two that would
ideal.
fit.
Yes, I think, and F-Zero is a really good pull as well, because I always think about that, those FMV cutscenes or the CGI cutscenes from the GameCube F-Zero X, GX, and how good those looked in terms of just like setting a tone for the city, Mute City.
A Blur Studios F-Zero race.
Right.
That'd be incredible.
That would be fantastic. And then like the underground element that they sort of tease at in F-Zero and some of the lore, yeah, that would be awesome to play around in. I'm not going to get my hopes up too high, but I think Alex Proyas coming back and doing, like, because he did that Metroid Prime commercial, the live action one that people should go look up. It's pretty wild. Take that and just make a whole episode based on that, please. I would take that in a second. In terms of anything else happening there, kind of, even all the stuff that was like, there were a lot of games.
Yeah, but not like and coming to Switch, like not a lot of that.
It's just a weird period for that, because the games are too big to be on Switch, and Switch 2 is not announced yet. So a weird space for that. But overall, I thought Opening Night Live was a good use of like our time on Giant Bomb watching that. Like I was really happy with that. So yeah, he does a good show now these days. I think Jeff Keighley's really sort of hit his stride with these things.
I just laugh because it's like, here's the reveal of the Indiana Jones release date, and it's Jeff Keighley saying, and it won't be eligible for my Game Awards show later this year.
Yes, right. Oh, God, that's right. That'll be fun and annoying, because that's going to be, especially if the game is really good. Previews came out, and I haven't had a chance to read them. I've been busy ever since Opening Night Live ended. But I kind of like glanced at some of them. But previews look pretty good for Indiana Jones. People seem to like, there's a lot of depth here, which, as was saying,
I saw Chronicles of Riddick thrown around a bit, and that makes me very excited.
Yep, that's really promising. So yeah, overall, I thought the show was pretty good. But that was not a lot of Nintendo information, because the Nintendo Direct did happen this week, but it was the Nintendo Museum Direct, right? Did you get a chance to watch this?
No, I didn't get around to it. I saw a few highlights, but I didn't get to watch the whole thing.
You know, those highlights are probably going to do...
Toads. I want to play with musical toads.
Absolutely. The highlights are going to do most of it for you. It was 10 minutes long. There's just not... They didn't show a lot. And the video is hosted by Miyamoto, and he is showing off these different installations in the museum. And some of it is like, here is a collection of a bunch of hardware and a bunch of games, and here's the box art from North America, and here's the box art from Japan, and it's like a museum, and they have, it's a little bit pretty high tech, where they're like, hey, here's video of the game playing, and here's directional speakers, so when you're standing in front of it, you're going to get the audio from the game. It's a museum. But then a lot of the installations are like, here is a bedroom that looks like it's out of early 1980s, late 1970s, and here's the Nintendo ping pong ball pitching machine that throws balls up in the air, and you can like hit it with a wiffle ball bat. And we're going to give you like little cages that you can go in that recreate these rooms, and you can play with these Nintendo toys that came out before we had Nintendo consoles. And a lot of the stuff is in that vein, where it is like experiential and sort of trying to recreate the vibe of what it was like to play with these things. Or it is here's a crazy take on this stuff, where here's a giant Wii remote that two people need to use to like play Pilot Wings for the Wii, or whatever that was, Pilot Wings Resort, maybe that's the 3DS game, whatever it was. There was a plane flying and they were controlling it with that, and it's like, oh, okay, so this feels like another one of these Miyamoto playgrounds, where he is like, we're going to create the Nintendo Museum, but it's like trying to convey our core essence of what we are, and not necessarily the walk through the hall, the annals of Nintendo's history and get all of the information, the anal of Nintendo history and get all the information. Instead, it is very much like, it's like, no, we want to convey this through more metaphors and more styles of play. And he's basically said that out loud. And I think some people will be disappointed by that. I'm not too surprised that this is what the Nintendo Museum looks like. What do you think?
Right. No, I mean, it's it's once again Miyamoto kind of being like, I'm done making these games. I just want to play and enjoy my golden years and do what I want. And isn't this neat?
Yeah.
Look at this thing that I could just mess around with and smile on the camera with.
And I kind of respect it and appreciate it. I think there will be room later for them to either add on to this or do a different kind of Nintendo museum and some other different location.
Do they bring one like stateside, maybe? Bring
one stateside, make it, a traveling museum that goes from city to city or something like that, where it has, here's 9 months in Chicago or something like that. And I think that'll come later. In the meantime, I think you're right. This is about like, hey, Miyamoto is our number 2 after the CEO, and he's going to stay in that position always. He wants to be right there, the creative, I forget exactly what their title is, but it's creative something. And let's just let him do his thing. So let him work on the movies, let him work on the parks with Universal, and then do whatever else he wants. And he ends up coming up with this. And I think that is a good use of the time left that they have with Miyamoto actively working at this company full time. Because at some point he'll step back even further, and he won't even be doing these projects anymore. So let him do that. And then I hope that this can build up into a space where we are seeing more opportunities for the real museum that people are actually talking about. But I don't know. If I ever go to Japan, I will definitely be going to this. It's in Kyoto, I think. So yeah. What's that, Christian?
Marino in chat asks if there's a Nintendo gel exhibit in the museum.
There kind of is. That's those cages look like. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike's not actually in Germany. They got him in Kyoto. He's locked up in the Nintendo jail at the museum.
Yeah, he's waiting extradition. Yeah, it's coming for him. They'll never take me alive. That's what I'm stating right now. Yeah, the thing opens October 2nd. Yeah, it's in Kyoto. The video is very cute. It's worth watching if anyone hasn't seen it yet. Go check it out. I kind of watched it like 2.5 times because I just thought, I'm like, oh, this looks so adorable. Yeah, I want to go real bad. We'll see. I hope it's a huge success and they do open up something over here so I can just make it a little bit easier on myself. The story here is kind of a little bit of a boondoggle. Who knows? Some people that claim to know stuff are like, hey, Nintendo's Switch 2 is going into production, or at least the component manufacturers are sending stuff to Nintendo so they can start production. And who knows? The sources for these sort of things are pretty uncertain in terms of their history with these sorts of rumors. But this thing does have to go into production at some point. And I would imagine Nintendo wants to do it sooner rather than later. But I think we could safely assume it hasn't happened yet because there hasn't been a leak yet, right? We're kind of waiting for the leak to come along and be like, hey, someone smuggled one of these things out of the manufacturing plant. Here it is. We haven't seen that yet. So it probably hasn't started yet, but Nintendo's promised to reveal this system in some way before the end of the fiscal year. If they are doing that, that probably means they're going to try to do that before the manufacturing leaks could happen. So I imagine that like those things will happen simultaneously. So I wouldn't be surprised if this thing is about to start manufacturing. These component manufacturers are getting lined up for that. But yeah, if they do that, do you think that gives them enough leeway to get enough Switch 2 systems to sort of mitigate as much pain as possible for a launch in, say, April, May, or summer?
I think we're looking at next holiday at this point. If that's how far behind the ball we're. If they're saying we're revealing it the fiscal year and not this year, like if you're doing it in the calendar year, you say that. If you like need that wiggle room, you say fiscal year. So if we're not even learning about it until February, March, and they claim they're going to ramp production so much that shortages won't be an issue. Yeah, we're not getting this thing for a year. Yeah,
and I think if they start like nowish and we don't get it for a year, then I wouldn't be surprised if they have plenty to kind of avoid most of. Like it would be easy enough for people who are really paying attention to get one. I think that like crowd that waits until the holidays to like the last minute of the holidays trying to get one for their kids, they're going to have a rough time. But that's just the way it goes with any new console launch.
I mean, as long as like, to be selfish, like, the people like us who like want to get one day one, put in a pre-order on Amazon or Best Buy or GameStop or whatever. If that's not a clusterfuck, fine. Let's get these people set. And then if Meemaw can't find a Switch for little Johnny, Meemaw should have pre-ordered one.
Yeah, Meemaw, get on your fucking game. What's your problem, Meemaw? Jesus. Yeah, if I'm gonna be following Wario 64 and that's enough, then I'll be happy. You're right. And then I'll, if I can do that and like help family members get one, because that's what I did for the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. And it's like, yeah, it was a little bit of a hassle, but it wasn't like a complete nightmare. PlayStation 5 became a complete nightmare pretty quickly after that. But
right.
Either way, there will be shortages. There just will be. This thing's going to eventually sell at least 50, 60 million units, probably more than that, but at least that much. And they're not going to have that much ready to go. And people will be lining up for these things. So, manufacturing, we'll see when that starts. I think we will just see when that starts, because I really do think the leaks are just kind of waiting for that to happen, and then we're going to go.
This rumor was talking about a Taiwanese semiconductor manufacturer, so maybe it's like components are spinning up.
That
so
is
like,
what it seems
chips
to be
or chips,
saying,
like
yes.
Yeah, you can't gain anything from that. So like, we may not be at the part where they're like have the shells and inserting screens and assembling systems yet, but I'm sure some component of this is ramping up. I mean, chip manufacturing is still, it's mostly recovered from the pandemic, but not 100%. And you got to get your yields and all that chip specific stuff that apparently Intel's not very good at these days. So I'm sure
we're gonna open up that plant in Ohio. It's gonna be fine. Don't worry.
Oh, it's gonna be fantastic.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
$5 billion or whatever from Joe.
Me, you, and Mike will be working in the chip mines, binning. I think you bin.
Yeah,
the chip,
you bin.
Right?
You bin the chips.
Some chips.
That's how they make chips. They bin them. Yeah.
Yes.
Beyond that, not a ton of Nintendo news this week. There are a handful of games that we've been playing that we'll talk about at the end of the show, but I believe we are getting some super chats. Why don't we hit those first, then we'll take a break, and we'll come back for our topic of the week, which is the Mount Rushmore of Nintendo peripherals. But before we do that, do we have any super chats? Wait, I read them on this show, right? Yes.
Sure.
I'll read them. Here we go. Screaming Madden, will Mike's Blight Club game require a giant Wiimote as seen in the Nintendo Museum? If we could source one, me and Dan would definitely do something like that. That would be fun. He's not like
you could just put a Wii remote in a giant remote. It would work, right?
Yeah, it would just kind of wire everything up. It would just kind of function.
Put some shake weights in there, and it'll be great.
He really does not enjoy the Wii, right? He's not putting on airs there. It seems like a system he dislikes.
He loved the GameCube so much, you'd figure when they duct tape two of them together, he'd like it twice as much. But
it scares me.
It's funny because Mario Galaxy and Galaxy 2 are two of his favorite games of all time, but he has no patience for Waggle.
He even says I don't even think of those as Wii games.
With.
He's like, those are just separate. I'm like, well, that's cheating. What are you doing there?
But to make it clear, everybody, don't ask me. I don't know what Mike's game is. I prefer not to know. I like to be surprised with everybody else.
I was gonna say we'll tell you, but yeah, that's great.
No. I like to live in the now.
Yeah, that's a good way of living. I like that. Hopefully we find out relatively soon, but clearly they're in Germany this week. They have fled the country just because I beat Daikatana and they both didn't want to go, so they got out of here. Next week, though, I'm like, maybe we could do it because I think we leave for PAX on Friday.
Well, when do they get back from London? I don't even know. I
think they get back on Monday or Tuesday.
Okay, because we need to do a 90s Disney too before he leaves.
When is Gamescom's over? I guess they might be going through the weekend. Yeah, I honestly don't know. Maybe they're there a whole week.
Yeah,
I guess I didn't.
I realized I never asked them, but they're 6 hours ahead, so it was too late to ask him.
I think they should definitely be back by Wednesday, though. That would be crazy.
Yeah,
I guess that'd be pretty crazy. So, but we'll see. If they're back and they're feeling up to it, maybe we can do the episode next week because I am just so ready for him to start playing this game. From Chrono Rig. Hey dogs, will there be life-sized wax figures of Mike and Jeff at the Nintendo Museum? It'll be in the dungeon, like a whipping boy. You can go down there and whip the statues, the wax figurines of me and Mike down there.
It's gonna be animatronics, but not like the good Disney animatronics. These are like the Kennywood animatronics, where it's very clearly a mannequin with some facial hair glued to it that has the most basic range of motion, and then there's a speaker below it going hey, I'm Mike Minotti.
It's just Hillary Clinton. They just made it look like Jeff Grubb. Yeah.
Right. Actually, did you know that if you ride Spaceship Earth at Epcot, all the audio animatronics are the presidents from the Hall of Presidents, just with different clothes on?
I think I've heard that before, but I always forget. And I like.
Yeah, you can find videos that like point them out. It's fun.
Well, I'm going to be looking for that when I go to Disney in November.
There you go.
Let's see here. Epic Open World says, I understand the reasoning, but I still think it's weird that Nintendo does not participate in events like Opening Night Live. Let's see here. Got cut off. Opening Night Live. Nintendo is video games. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that they always consider it. And I even when they have games, they don't always participate. So, yeah, it's a little strange. I think that they want to control their own stuff. They have their teams doing their own thing. And sort of having to, like, work with Keighley. I wonder if part of it is, like, when we show up with our stuff, even when it's free, Keighley is the one benefiting from this because he could charge more because now Nintendo stuff is in his show. And that makes it an even more premium show. Even more people will watch. And I think that they're just like, we're not sure how, like, we want that to be our relationship with Jeff. Maybe we will occasionally show up at the Game Awards and only the Game Awards. I think they view that differently than Opening Night Live and Summer Game Fest. But I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, who benefits more, Keighley or Nintendo, from being at something like Opening Night Live or Summer Game Fest, for that matter. Nintendo has no problem commanding our eyeballs and attention whenever they want. I mean, they could tweet. It's 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. They could tweet that there's a Nintendo Direct tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. less than 12 hours from now. We'll all watch it. We'll all be there. Like, they can just do it.
Yeah, Keighley's made a real business out of being like, I can get gamers to pay attention when I put on a show. And Nintendo is definitely one of those companies that just has no need for that because only Nintendo can really talk to Nintendo fans the way it does. No one else commands that audience the way Nintendo does.
Plus, I mean, I don't think Nintendo would want to be, I mean, not that, like, I want to be a prude here, but, like, a lot of Keighley shows, there's a lot of blood and gore in some of these trailers. People are dropping F-bombs. And then what are you going to do? Have a Pikmin trailer thrown in there? Like, nah, Nintendo doesn't want to be in that mix.
Yeah. Let's see here from Jacob Bench. Mike is gone so we can talk. Does he really think he lost last week because his list was better? And then hashtag cyberpunk. I think he definitely really believes he only lost because everyone wants to see him get mad. Yeah.
Listen, I'm glad you've all joined in on this Minotti family tradition. I'm just pissing him off. But I will say, I was screaming at both of you while I was listening, like, "Oh my God, Cyberpunk! What is wrong with you guys?"
I was
you
like,
even said The Witcher, and no one, like, you didn't, like, counterpick with Cyberpunk.
I'm like, Cyberpunk was, like, occurring to me in that moment, but I'm like, Mike won't pick it, so I'm going to save it, and then I forgot until, like, almost the very end. It was rough.
I mean, I am surprised that the combination of Baldur's Gate 3 along with KOTOR, and just some of the other stuff he had peppered in there. I honestly thought he did have you beat. So I could only assume, chat, that it is because you're just trying to get that reaction from Mike, which, my father and mother have tried to explain to him all his life that, this is why your brothers do this to you, because of the way you react. And he just hasn't gotten that lesson. And I get it, because I try to teach that to my own children when they freak out
and they don't ever get it. Yeah.
It's just some of us grow out of it and some of us just don't.
He takes it very seriously, which does not help his case. He really wants to win, and I'm just like, I didn't make these games, Mike. I don't care. All right, fair enough. You did a better job remembering games. Shit, you got me. Yeah, I think our audience, it was very cyberpunk coded. I think that really did help with the podcast producers. But I think there were some people that definitely still were trying to just poke at him. That's how it goes. I did start, I'll talk about it later, but I did start replaying, not even replaying. I picked up my save for Disco Elysium, the final cut, because he had it on his list and he had never played it. And he gave me shit for, like, I think Fable 2. I was like, oh, you never played that? I'm like, well, yeah, but
his point wasn't that you never played it. It's just that, like, even though you've played it and beat it, name anything from it, which he's not wrong.
Yeah, well, yeah, but he couldn't name anything from Disco Elysium. So yeah, that's like,
that's because he hasn't played it. There's a difference.
Oh, well, I haven't played Fable 2. Yeah, I don't. fun.
I don't think he realized that.
Yeah, I
think
never
he's saying,
cared
like,
about the Fable games.
I mean,
yeah.
I played Fable 2, beat Fable 2, like Fable 2. I couldn't tell you a damn thing
yeah,
about Fable 2.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, so let's see here. Jacob Bench, we did this one. Willow Davis. Jeff, please go to hell for the Mega Man Legends 3 joke. Oh, I'm already there, Willow
What did
Davis.
you
Don't
do?
worry. Mega Man is in that Funko Fusion game, and I just quote tweeted it saying Mega Man Legends 3. And Mega Man fans, for some reason, didn't appreciate that. I don't get what's going on there.
I can't imagine why.
Can't imagine what their problem
This
is.
was after, important to note, he said on Game S Mornings that Mega Man Legends 3 is a game that
Yeah,
does
you
not
yelled
need to
at me.
exist, and he is a bad person. Thank you.
Yeah, probably, that does sound like something I would say. I don't mean it, but it's something I would say.
It really does.
Adam Wilson re-upped their Lincoln membership, 23 months. Shout out to you, Adam Wilson. Thank you so much. RT Bix says, how's it going? With the how's it going emote here. It's going pretty good. How are you doing? It's going?
Oh, good. It's been a stressful, long week at work. I had a big banana split tonight. That kind of helped take the edge off.
Yeah, that's the way to
that was
do it.
good.
Let's see. Chuck Towski says, August. That's right. Guest. Yeah, we're celebrating August at Giant Bomb. Tomorrow, that means we're playing Murky Divers and maybe another game, but we're going to do one of those kind of Lethal Company spooky games. So this one's called Murky Divers, and it's about swimming underwater. It looks pretty fun, so it'll be a good time.
Are there whales? Whales are scary.
There might be, yeah. Any sort of thing, any creature swimming underneath me in the water, even in a video game, creeps me out. I hate it. So
yeah,
I expect to be very scared. L. Grug says, as AJ has known Mike for a good amount of Mike's life, has he always, or was he always such a problematic individual, or does he think the Germans invented apples? So yeah,
I want to find it so bad. There is a photo that exists of Mike when he was like 2 or 3, eating an apple, just sitting there smiling at the camera, holding the bit into green apple.
We need this really bad.
I know. God knows where it is right now. It's just we all remember it. I just don't know where it ended up. But like we talk about it in hushed, reverent tones around the family gatherings. But
have you heard the English story about him yet?
The English? What's that?
Oh, okay. So they're at a bar. They got recommended by when Jan and Bailey went out to dinner. They got recommended bar by the waiter, who's like, this place is my favorite place. So they went there with Mike, and they went to the wrong part of the bar to order. And the bartender in German was like, "Hey, you're in the wrong place." But they don't understand. Bailey's beginning to get it because the hand signals and the anger, and she starts to move, and Mike yells, "English!" And Jan says he's never seen anyone's eyebrows go as high as he saw the barback's eyebrows go in that moment. And then Jan and Bailey immediately turned around and left. And Mike was like, "Oh, what's going on? Oh, we're leaving? Okay." He didn't understand until they explained it to him later. Now, his defense was he thought he heard her say the Deutsch or English. So he was answering a question, but the way it came out was English. And you know Mike's voice. Yeah.
To make sure everyone's clear on this, when Mike was in college, he did study German.
Even better. Oh, hell yes.
Now,
and that's
again to go back to kind of his. This does not surprise me. This is very much my dad's same energy when traveling, and
right.
I've never traveled abroad with my dad. Mike has a couple of times now. This feels like something my dad would have done.
Yes. And they're like oblivious. Like he's like he wasn't ever trying to do. He thought he was answering a question, but
right.
He basically almost killed
no.
Jan and Bailey with embarrassment.
Nothing. You have to understand. Nothing Mike ever does like that is out of malice. It's purely just him, just
right. And that's definitely almost what makes it feel even that much more bolder. It's because it's like,
right.
Where does this guy get off? Yeah, it's like he's not trying. Apparently later they went to the chocolate museum, and they walked in.
Yes,
they
sent
saw
me a picture.
Yeah, they saw a tree of a cocoa tree, a cacao tree, whatever it is, and it had the beans on there. And Dan's like staring at it, and like turns to Bailey. He's like, Where's this come from? Like yelling, and she's like, it comes from those beans. And Dan just yells, "Beans!" really loud, and apparently, as he's yelling all this stuff in the chocolate museum, a crowd, a tour group of children and the teachers were shushing him and getting mad at him. And Dan said he had no idea they were even there, let alone shushing him. And then when he had to explain that, he's like, "I was thinking about the beans." So basically, what I'm saying is, it's a really good Bombcast this week. Everybody, you should go listen to it.
The universe proved its sixth sense of humor when it introduced Dan Reichert to Mike Minotti.
I gotta tell you, for years I thought about, I can't wait to get these kids together. I hope I get a chance to make that happen.
I was talking to a coworker just the other day and telling her how my brother's in Germany and kind of trying to, because I'm explaining he works for gaming media, and I was like, she's traveling with this guy, and I stopped and I said, okay. You know the really big Taco Bell in Las Vegas? She goes, yeah. I go, remember they had a contest to get married there? She's like, yeah. I'm like, this is the guy who won that contest. It's a great shortcut to explain Dan
just
Reichert
explains it in a moment. Yeah.
It really is.
All right.
Literally, the first time I talked with Mike here in this Discord, I was like to Chef, you should make him and Dan meet up, because the universe gonna just explode.
Yep.
And, yep.
It feels like it can barely
at least.
handle it. Yeah. It might be in its dying last gasps of breath, but who knows?
Did they meet before COVID or after?
It had to be after.
After.
Yeah, because that's when I got the job at Giant Bomb. Yeah. All right. Let's see here from Teriyaki Blues. Am I a bad person for missing Peter Molyneux? No, but yeah. A little bit.
Yeah. I will say he came out and I was like, wow, I didn't realize it's been so long since I've seen him, because he looks like noticeably older than I was thinking.
68 now. Yeah. It was that was a confusing game to me, because first of all, it's Albion, and he says it's the Fable Albion, but it's not the Fable Albion, because Albion refers to like a region of England. So he's like saying they can't copyright it because that's like copyrighting America. But is it though, Peter? Is it? Is he real? That's wait. Are you for real? Is he saying that?
There's an interview with IGN, and they asked him, like, is this like Fable Albion? And he's like, yeah, I mean, it's gonna be real familiar to players of Fable. They're like, but like Microsoft's cool with this. He's like, well, actually, Albion is a historical name for a region of like England and Wales. And we're just riffing on Albion, and you can't that's saying we can't make a game in America because someone else made a game in America. I'm like, yeah, but like, I believe that, but come on, that's crazy. Right. What are you talking
about?
Just another name for your place,
right?
To be fair, there are other games called Albion.
No, there definitely are, right? But not all made by Peter Molyneux.
This is from the guy who made Fable,
right? If like. Francis Ford Coppola was like made another movie about the mafia or whatever, and was like God space or God, father or something like that. It would be like, what? No, come on. What are you talking about? Just because you couldn't get the rights back and they stole my stuff. Well, what do you? Yeah, this is just very strange. It's a very Peter Molyneux thing to do. Is how I feel about it.
Exactly. Like he hasn't changed at all.
Yeah.
Also, I thought the game looked kind of bad.
I mean, it reminded me of Black and White, but Black and White one is. It reminded
me of Black and White that it looked like Black and White one. Like it looked bad.
And Black and White one is good, but it's not holding up.
Like I'm trying to imagine playing that character in third person, just hitting those things with the club. I'm like, you're just not doing anything. You're just hitting the attack button, and like it plays a janky animation. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I Marino, I will not sign any walls that say that this game is not on rails. No matter how much Peter Molyneux tries to get me to do that.
I still never heard a satisfactory explanation for that one. Like when he said he would do that, and then it was very much clearly on rails. No one ever went to him and said, Peter, you made me sign a wall.
God, you're right. We should. I would like to do like a documentary on that and get everyone who ever signed the wall and be like, let's call Peter right now. All right, Dr. Ryan, AJ, how much of Mike is a work or a shoot?
It is 100% shoot.
Yeah,
you don't understand. You don't understand. That is just who he is. It really is. The funny thing is, you have to understand this. Growing up, Mike was the shy one. Very quiet, very reserved. Yes. If you've asked anyone who knew us growing up and hadn't kept up with us and said, guess which Minotti is on a personality in the internet and travels the world, they would have told you me.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not Mike. What honestly changed everything for him was when they were in high school, we had to do like a film project sophomore year. That was like a big thing. And they did a riff of Lord of the Rings that he directed. And that was kind of where he really found his footing and a little bit of authority. And the movie was actually pretty decent for like what that project was. So like everyone kind of knew like, oh, this was Mike's thing. And he got like a little bump from that socially.
Yeah.
And that was the birth of modern Mike Minotti.
Got a little bit of confidence and it all went to his head. Yeah.
Exactly right.
Donnie Reese says, Xbox fam are down bad today, Jeff. Is Xbox plan to just string out the inevitable with hardware while slowly becoming more and more third party? I mean, yeah, right? I mean, I think
Penny Arcade had a good comic about this. I don't know if you read Penny Arcade still.
I read it here and there. It's still in my RSS feed, but what was it?
Like Master Chief walks into a boardroom and like Phil Spencer and whoever else is in there, and he's like, hey, this is about me going on PlayStation. It's like, well, Chief, come on. Like, it's just the way things are done now. I mean, Sonic's playing with Mario now, for God's sake. And Master Chief's like, yeah, how's that latest Sega console working for you guys?
Yep. It's, the games got too expensive. And and I think they looked around and they said to themselves, we can either try to get very creative with games that cost a lot less so that we could keep fighting back and forth over a pie that is not going to get that much bigger with console sales. Or we can try to leap forward to a future where, what does a third party even mean when, consoles are going to be sort of, their importance is deprecated at a certain point because they are becoming closer and closer to PCs. It does feel like the future is a little bit more open than it was a little bit ago. So, yeah, I think it's already here. This has been coming for a while. I think Microsoft has fully decided to do this, and it just is a matter of how do they roll it out? How do they introduce what the future? And I think they're still figuring out exactly what it looks like, right? Because we haven't leaped forward to that future yet, but they're in the middle of trying to figure out what that leap looks like.
And other industries have moved to this future that I think that's what they want to emulate. I mean, Apple has Apple TV Plus. You can get it on an Apple TV box, but you can also get that on a Fire Stick,
right? And it's just on the web, right? TV. And the web's completely open.
Right. And then same thing. I mean, Windows is available for any computer, but Microsoft has the Surface line. Like, they make their hardware, but they also license that software for other hardware manufacturers. I think, Xbox, I think, could be very Surface-like in that, our games run on PCs. You could buy a PlayStation, and we also make our own hardware that plays these if that's the way you want to go. If, it's just more about making it easier for you to get to our games, and wherever you want to go, that's where we'll meet you.
Yeah, I mean, as Sean points out, and this is it really does come down to this. When Microsoft looks where they're making money right now, it's Call of Duty now. It's been Minecraft for a few years, handful of other things. It's got World of Warcraft. It's going to be stuff that is on PC and massive there, or on everything. And, go back to Jeff Gerstmann's conversations with Phil Spencer almost 10 years ago now on the E3 couch, and he was saying stuff like, I look at what Destiny does, and I wonder, why are we making these single-player games for just the Xbox when, these multi-platform games that are services and hobbies just take over and become the most played things. I think that he just feels like he's fighting a losing battle by trying to go fight the console war. He is definitely not doing that anymore. 100% Xbox is not going to try to fight the console war anymore. And that's, I don't think it's not just because they lost. I don't think PlayStation is really going to be fighting the console war anymore because they need the growth. They don't need to beat Xbox. They need to grow. And growth is not happening in the console space in that way. And they could try to brute force it. They could try to get Gen Z to embrace consoles in a broad way. A lot of Gen Z kids are going to play consoles. They absolutely are. But it's not going to be enough to sort of replace people who will be leaving consoles and then grow it beyond, so they could justify the massive costs of making these games. So the only real answer is games have to be everywhere. And then I think both Xbox and PlayStation are going to come to that conclusion, and they'll have to figure out what that looks like. In the meantime, Nintendo could do its own thing.
You know, the other thing I think the console space has not figured out very well yet, and I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Actually, after I got an email from Nintendo the other day, where it was encouraging me. It was like, tired of sharing your Switch? You can buy a second Switch. The Switch Lite's real cheap. And I'm like, it made me think about how, when we were kids, you had a Nintendo in the house. Maybe the kids played it, the parents didn't really, and so it's like, whatever, you can share this and that's it. I'm in a household where I have 3 kids. They all play video games. I play video games. Is the expectation really that I'm going to have multiple boxes, no real good way of sharing purchases between them? Do I have to have a device for every TV? But then my phone is a device I always have. Everyone gets their own. Eventually my kids will.
You upgrade them fast enough that you have several just sitting around.
Right. The purchases are shared. We share media libraries. We share music subscriptions. Video games haven't really cracked that yet, which is odd. Like, Microsoft dipped their toe in it. Like they did the Xbox Game Pass family plan as a test, and they didn't move past the testing phase.
I think they just stopped it. Yeah.
Right. Like I think about do I want to get my kids a PS5? I don't even know if we have 2 PS5s in the house, what's the situation there? How do we share purchases? Does it work like Xbox says? I don't know. And then again, we have a TV in the basement they use. Well, do I eventually have to get one for upstairs? And I got 3. Am I going to really buy 3 boxes for 4 of us to be playing games? No. It gets messy in a way that, like I said, that it's solved by just having games as service available on any device, and it doesn't matter where you are, and everything just kind of works.
Steam family sharing rules, though, just to let you know. It got real good in that last big update, and I hope that's how it works on everything very soon. I hope Nintendo adopts the Steam style of family sharing.
Now, that doesn't let you play the same game simultaneously, though, right?
The exact same game. I think you can up to a point, but if you try to play online at the same time, then it kicks you off, I think. Or maybe that's actually how the Switch does work now. But but you could definitely play different games in the library at the same time.
Because my barometric or what's the word I want? My benchmark for this is Mario Kart. For the 5 of us, because Jessica has a Switch too. For the 5 of us to sit down the couch and all of us play Mario Kart, we all own a copy of Mario Kart. We have purchased Mario Kart 5 times. I'm not going to do that for every game. I mean, that's why I think Fortnite succeeds. It's free to play. Everyone can just get it. Am I going to buy multiple copies of Concord so everyone could play it? No,
well, of course we are. Not. Of course, it's Concord. You have to. It's the law.
Well, it's only $40, I guess. So yeah.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we will do our Mount Rushmore of Nintendo peripherals right after this. And if you have more super chats, get them in now. We'll get to the rest of them before the end of the program.
Good break.
Yep.
You wanna just jump back into it? What do you want to do?
Azure guy, if you need to take a break, let me know. Otherwise,
I'm ready to go.
Okay, let's do it.
Set up because we have a submission from the podcast producers. You want to set up that first before we go back?
Yeah, give me a second. Let me do it right now.
Yeah, and get the document up so we can
doing it right now.
Because we always forget.
Yep. There's that. Let's see.
I was checking that NFT game he did, Molinux, and it seems to be out.
Yeah, it was out in like, but it like I don't know if it's like fully out, but I think it was out in early enough access that he was like selling those plots of digital land to people.
Yeah, it looks a little like the game he showed. It's like a god game,
Oh, of course. I mean, that's kind of what he's been making over and over again. All right. Let's see your window.
Does this mean Peter Molly Dukes is gonna come back?
I hope so. God, I forgot about that account. That's crazy.
I love that. So funny. That motherfucker was so funny.
All right, there's this.
Ba-ba-da-ba-bum. He's in the Gala chain. It's on the Gala chain, brother. Let's go.
Oh shit!
Just
All
give
right,
us on the Gala chain.
of course he does. All
Powered by
right.
Gala.
There is that.
What
You know
the
what? I
fuck?
can. Let's see what's going on over here.
All right.
Almost ready. Just got to get the
You're good.
Mount Rushmore Nintendo
You're good.
peripherals thing here.
Oh, that Terry. They showed an extended gameplay of Terry. It's pretty good.
Looks
Okay.
real good.
Pretty good.
Pretty. good.
Pretty. I like that you can combo after his wave. So wait. No, oh no. What's this? What's this? I forgot this.
Power wave.
Oh, there we go. Power wave.
Okay, I am ready.
All right.
Okay.
Bring it back.
All right, we are back. We're going to get into it. The Mount Rushmore of Nintendo peripherals. As a reminder, what we do here, we try to pick the 4 most iconic, emblematic entries for any one of these Rushmores for Nintendo peripherals. You know, we'll go through a bunch of them. We'll get recommendations from podcast producers, but we will whittle them down to 4. Not necessarily the best, but, you know, quality definitely always factors into it. Ash Guy, do you want to start?
Sure. I'm going to start with a personal favorite of my own, harkening back to my youth, and that's going to be the NES Zapper.
Yeah, I think that is an immediate go-to good one there.
Yeah, there was a vibe of playing Duck Hunt in your living room, doing the thing we all did where we just put the gun right up against the screen.
Yep.
Because we were clever. It had a very satisfying click on that trigger. Very
Yeah,
satisfying.
the spring was very just clicky, yeah.
Yeah, and we actually had the original gray one. We got it before they changed it to orange after parents complained about children having a weapon. So yeah, I always think back fondly to both at home and at my grandma's. She had an NES, and we would just play Duck Hunt.
Yep. We got, I think it must have been the system we got was the one with the gray zapper and Duck Hunt. I think it was the combination Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt cartridge that we had.
We had the Mario Duck Hunt track and field, so we also had the power pad.
All right then, yeah.
That thing ruled.
Yeah,
that kit was like, what a launch.
Yeah, it was very cool, very fun. I was always it was always cool to learn how the zapper worked, where it had like a sensor in the gun itself, and it was looking for that blocky flash that would happen around the ducks or whatever you were shooting at. And if it could see that flash, it knew that you got a hit. And if it didn't see that, it knew it was a miss. And it worked surprisingly well. And this is something Nintendo had been doing for a long time. I learned later. They had a lot of light guns in the arcade and things like that. But yeah, very cool. All right. I you know, someone, Marino in chat asked, does it have to be first party? I'm going to say no. Because this one is, I think, going to be controversial because it's not good, but it's definitely iconic. I'm going to go with the Power Glove.
It's so bad.
It's so bad. It's and it is bad. It never really worked. But I think there's something about it. And we'll see if it makes the final cut. This is not me picking it first, so it has to make it or anything. But I want to get it out there because I love this thing. In terms of aesthetics and the way just the way it felt, and having all the buttons up on the back of your wrist as if that was how any good way to play games. It wasn't. Across the board, it was a bad experience, but it just looked so futuristic that I didn't care. I needed the thing so bad. And seeing it in the Wizard, of course, only stoked those flames. I think this is one that would, like, if you were to ask someone, hey, what's a Nintendo peripheral on the street? I think the Power Glove would come up very often.
Did you ever own one?
I got one for like Christmas sometime. I tried it a handful of times. There was a game where you literally played as a glove that would like throw balls against the back wall. And I got that one kind of working a little bit once. And then everything else just did not function the way I wanted it to.
Yeah, we got one years after the fact. I can't remember if it was a used game store. It might have been in a garage sale even. Same thing, like it had like those blocky sensors, like it was like an L bracket thing. So one went on top of the TV, one dangled off the side. And I don't remember ever getting it really to work. I mean, maybe it was working and that's just what it was.
Right.
I don't know.
I think that might have been the case, yeah.
It was like this like thing like, I know this is bad, but it's a Power Glove. This can be so cool. And it's like, oh, this thing's really, really bad. Oh no.
Yeah, that sort of technology got a little bit better with, like, I think the U-Force actually did work a little bit better, but I don't know, Power Glove just looked cooler than a U-Force.
It did look cool. It looked cool.
All right, what do you got next?
All right, I'm gonna go another personal favorite from the Nintendo 64 era, and that is the Rumble Pack.
Yeah, good call.
That launched with Star Fox 64, which is probably my favorite N64 game, and again, it's just like we had. I think at that point we'd had some flight sticks for PC that had feedback of a sort, and like bringing that to the console space, having it be this thing that like you upgraded your controller, and like that was kind of crazy. And the way it worked in Star Fox, and just feeling like that thing working was just so cool. Such a like neat idea. Like how could they think of these things?
Yeah, and it was like it just felt so special to be like, oh my god, they have this expansion port on the back of the controller. I can actually do something with it, and now it is. The games feel more alive, and it became a good reason to own the N64 for me, because it's like, oh yeah, the other systems can't do that, and of course they all found ways to do it eventually. But yeah, Rumble Pack was very cool, and I had so many of these things lying around. I don't know how I came across them.
There were third-party ones that promised to be even stronger and stuff.
Yeah, I had like a gold one. I think I got from Blockbuster, probably. I don't know. All right, I'm going to go with the Game Boy camera. This thing was a lot of fun. I think it was developed by Game Freak, or at least the software was. And as with all of their non-Pokemon stuff, it's like a surprisingly deep and fun thing. There's a lot of like little secrets and mini games and things like that. But it was just so cool to have this camera that could take pictures on the Game Boy, and they were pixelated but so stylized that it didn't matter. And also, it was just a novelty at that point to have a digital camera at all. So the fact that they were low quality didn't really matter all that much, and they were low quality in an interesting way. The Game Boy camera, and it's just like had another cool looking thing. This little globe, a sphere on top of a base that plugged into the cartridge slot, and you could turn it around to take selfies and things like that. It was just neat, and obviously a lot of webcams ended up looking that way. But I just liked the look of it plugged into a Game Boy. It was very neat.
I was gonna say, I think mine is actually upstairs. I was about to grab it, but I still have it. It still works. Yep. It works in the analog pocket. It's hilarious.
Yep. I like it a lot. Let's do one more each, and then we'll go to the podcast producers.
Okay. I mean, should we just go ahead and throw the Wiimote up there? I mean, I'm sure it's going to come up.
Yeah. So, is that a main controller? Or is it a peripheral? I'm kind of with you.
Right. I mean, the Wii Motion Plus was a peripheral. I guess you could count that in a weird, like. It does kind of skirt that line, I guess. But
would you be okay with doing the Wii Motion Plus Wii Remote?
Sure, because that was like what we thought we were getting. That first time you played a Wii Motion, I think it launched with Wii Sports Resort. Yeah, and you're finally like, oh, this is doing what I thought. Where if I turn the sword in any angle,
it's 1-to-1. Yeah,
it actually happens in the game. And like, this, when I played Twilight Princess, this is what I thought I was going to be doing with Link, and so that was cool. I feel like when I try to think like what games really took advantage of that, not as many as I would have thought. I mean, it made for some better sword play and a couple games in Skyward Sword, but that was really it. Yep. Yeah. It felt like that was like maybe they were too afraid to rely on everyone having it because so many Wiis were out there. Were you really going to get everyone to get this peripheral or upgrade their Wii remote? It's a shame it didn't launch in that state.
Yeah, it probably would have made a big difference had the Wii launched with that. I mean, obviously the thing sold fine. They were right that most people that were in that blue ocean strategy audience just needed the accelerometer, and we were all like, well, where's our gyroscope? And we got that eventually. I think I will go, I'm kind of debating between two, but I think I'm going to go with the GameCube Wavebird controller. This thing, I had some wireless controllers or used some wireless controllers. I don't know if I had any myself, but I definitely used some at like friends' house that had IR receivers. So it would be like a remote control for your TV. You point it at the thing and it works. But if you lay back, you point it at the ceiling. If someone walks in front of you, it just, the signal will not get through and it just stops dead. The Wavebird was a 2.4 gigahertz radio signal, and turns out that's really reliable and works very well. And the Wavebird became something that's like this. I cannot feel the difference between using this and the plugged-in GameCube controller. On top of that, it was like pretty comfy, And then in addition to that, the batteries lasted forever, just forever and ever and ever. So it's like you had this thing that was wireless, but you weren't like always like kind of like micromanaging the energy levels. It just seemed to work. Didn't have to think about it, and that also was like a leap forward in a lot of ways. So just they nailed everything with the Wavebird controller, and so I think to this day it's still one of my favorite things to use in terms of playing games.
The only thing that disappointed me about the Wavebird was losing Rumble. That was always the trade-off. Yep. If you want the Rumble, you got to get that wire back out. But no, I do agree. It was great because I did have a Genesis wireless controller that used the infrared and all the frustrations that went with that. So to have that working was incredible. All right, I'll tell this factoid. So the GameCube lived in Mike's bedroom. His bedroom was arranged so that his TV was kind of in the middle side wall on a swiveling TV stand. And we all had our own bathroom in our room. And so it just turned out that thanks to the Wavebird, you could still continue playing the GameCube if you just turned the TV to the left a bit and kept the door open, and you could get your business done.
Hell yeah.
Never stop gaming.
Yep, I love that. Yeah, honestly, I've been chasing that my whole life. That's what I've always been looking for. So I respect that quite a bit. That's my main issue with the Wii U. The Wii U gamepad did not work when I would take it in my bathroom. Didn't go far enough, yeah. Just didn't. Yep. It was like right over there, but no, not close enough.
Yep.
All right. I think it's time to check in with the podcast producers. I'll do that off screen, make sure nothing gets weird there. No, we're good. Okay. Oh, hell yeah, Dean Bowling. All right. Dean Bowling has the Wii remote condoms, the things that Nintendo would send to people later. Did they send this because I forget why they sent these, or did this come with it? Because I know they the straps came with it, and you were supposed to wear the straps.
Well, it was because we were throwing our Wii remotes at TVs.
Yeah, but I thought that's what the strap was about.
Did they send them? You could order them for free? I forget.
Yeah, you could order them for free. I thought,
something like that. And then the original Wii Motion Plus was built into the condom,
right?
And then it wrapped around.
Right, so you had to use the whole thing. You could take it off and get it out of the condom if you wanted to.
But that's what held it in place, though. There wasn't really any other kind of latch.
Yeah, you could order up to 4, says Marino. Yeah, these came later. I remember ordering them later and this being a thing and everyone talked kind of joking about it.
It wasn't at launch. Yeah, it was after every news station had the nightly news graphic of a Nintendo Wii and a cracked TV screen. Yep. It was are your kids breaking your TV right now?
Jamie H. Christmas Eve has Rob the Robot. I think we could consider Rob the Robot because it's not.
I think he counts.
He counts. He's not a good peripheral. It didn't really function that well. I haven't played Gyroscope or Gyromite, whatever it is. That much myself.
I've never actually interacted with one of these before, like a working physical one.
But in terms of being, sort of what's it called when you have the horse and you take it in, they try to attack the soldiers and they don't know there's soldiers inside of the horse.
Trojan horse.
Thank you, a Trojan horse. Yeah,
that one.
Yeah, the Trojan's horse. Yes, they did that with this, where it's hey, the consoles aren't selling in America, and parents are afraid of investing in a new console. And so Nintendo's well, it's not a console, it's a toy. Look at the robot; it's right there. Yeah. It's a toy, and he comes with this box that can play some other games that he can interact with. Don't worry about that. Get the robot. And I appreciate the strategy. So maybe we can, maybe consider. We'll see.
We can consider. Yeah.
All right. The Elden Ring Wolf 5 has the Pokemon wireless keyboard for the Nintendo DS or 3DS, I guess.
I've never heard of this.
Pokemon Typing Adventure on the DS. That's a DSi.
DSi. Okay.
It is a Bluetooth keyboard that attached to the system, and it just taught you to type. This game only released in Japan and Europe, which is why you are not familiar with it.
That sounds right.
I wonder, would any Bluetooth keyboard work? Did it have to be this one? Would this keyboard work on a computer?
I know the keyboard can work on a computer, but I believe this keyboard was needed to pair with the game card or whatever.
Okay, interesting.
Villain Max says the Handy Boy, which is that atrocious I don't know, cyborg body you would put on a Game Boy to add the speakers and the analog stick and the rocker button and the magnifying lens and all that stuff. This thing is amazing.
I love this thing so much.
And it would like fold down on
it's
top
so
of it, so it like
it's so good. It's so good.
I think I have this now, but I did not have it as a kid. Let me see what's in here.
I had one as a kid. It was the chunkiest thing. It didn't work, but you convinced yourself it worked, like the magnifying glass.
If I have it somewhere else.
Who are we kidding? The weird, like, not an analog stick, the button shape. I mean, the speakers were fine.
Right.
And the light was important. The light was helpful.
Right. And there was definitely like products
every time I see it, I laugh.
There was definitely products that was like just any one of these things on their own. So it was just funny that some like Interact
all
here
in one.
It was like, let's just do it all in one. Yep.
And I mean, people have these, like, everyone knows what that thing is. It's so funny.
Yeah, it was very popular.
It's so iconic.
Ying. Obviously, one thing I didn't mention, it has a light, because there was no backlight on the Game Boy, so you could see this thing at night. And that was the real reason you were getting most of these things, is so you could play the Game Boy at night. Nick Turbo says the Wii balance board. I think I want to put that on there right now. Wii balance board and Rob, the robot. This is definitely one that I actually thought was pretty fun for a couple of games. I definitely did some Wii Fit using the balance board. The game definitely called me obese a couple of times, hurt my feelings. But yeah, the Wii balance board worked. That one definitely just like functioned as advertised with almost no issues, to the point where it's like, oh man, I wish they would use this for more things. In fact, I wonder if there's some bad Wii balance board games I can make Mike or Dan play.
I'm sure.
Club. Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I had one of these fiddled with it. It almost worked to a boring degree, if that makes sense.
Yes, exactly.
They use it so much as like an exercise thing that they never got like more creative than that. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's up there in terms of being iconographic for Nintendo peripherals, but also the thing I think of the most now is after the huge wave of people adopting these things, seeing stacks and stacks of them at a GameStop in the back room, and just like 25 of them on top of one another, and that's what I really remember at this point. And like, I think I had like 2 official Nintendo Wii balance boards at some point, and then like a third-party one as well. It was wild.
We wasted a lot of plastic that generation.
Oh yes, we did.
Between that and guitars, oh lord, what did we do to the planet?
Dead dinosaurs just turned into weird instruments and things to stand on. Chris 2K has the Franken 3DS with the was this the Touchpad Pro, Slide Pad Pro, whatever it was. Circle Pad Pro. Thank you. I have one of these that someone sent me later. Honestly, the person sending me might be in chat. I can't remember exactly who it was. I'm sorry. But it's the only game I remember using this. I think there was a Monster Hunter, but I think one of the Resident Evil games on 3DS also used this.
Snake Eater benefited from this very greatly as well. And even though like the new 3DS had like that weird little nubbin for the right analog stick, but like this was actually more comfortable, which is insane.
Yes.
There it is.
Yep. Man, I should get this 3DS working again.
You most likely use it on Monster Hunter on the 3DS.
Yeah, that's the most
Monster
popular,
Hunter was the other big use.
Yeah,
I played
Revelations.
Monster Hunter 3rd.
I played Resident Evil Revelations, everybody. I like that, but I barely remember it at all. That's out on console now.
On a boat.
I should replay those games.
Yeah, they up-resed it.
Up-re-esed it. The Hosp says the Game Boy Light magnifier. Yeah, this is like exactly like one of these things where it does the thing that everyone really wants, which is, can you make looking at the Game Boy screen a little bit more bearable? Now,
can you use like in combo with the other thing and make it like super huge, like super magnify?
I think
magnifying on magnifying.
I think that would like flip the image, or like cause the light in your room to like burn a hole into the Game Boy screen or something.
Or open a wormhole through the fabric of space-time. Yeah, no good.
I was a kid, so I had no problem looking at the Game Boy screen back then. I have like no memory of being like, this is hard to look at. I mean, I definitely had to mess with the contrast, but I would do that and it would be fine. And now when I try to look at a Game Boy screen, it like is actively painful. So
the Game Boy was always the genesis of that dad thing in the car where you try to turn on a light in the back seat. Your dad's like, I'll wreck the car. Turn that light off. And I'm like, oh no. And now like I'm a dad and they turn the light on and I'm like, it's kind of annoying.
Yeah,
I'd like
kind
them
of
to turn it
annoying.
off, but like, I'm not going to get in an accident. But you know what I'm going to tell them? Turn that off. I'm
Yeah.
going to wreck the car. What are you doing?
And really what it's about for me is they're not going to remember to turn it off. And I'm going to get back out here the next day and my engine or my battery is going to be dead. And they never remember to turn it off. And they just have gotten old enough where they can grab something and push the light. And I'm like, you bastards, stop doing that.
Yeah, no, yeah, we went through. At least the Honda Odyssey does turn them off automatically. It won't leave the backlights on forever, which is good.
That's my next minivan, I think.
But then you get in the car and it's like you're the only one in there, and then the light all the way in the back is on. You're like, God damn it! Now it's bothering me.
Yeah, okay,
and I gotta go back there and turn it off.
Annoying.
Twist my neck trying to reach back there.
It's a minivan. We should be able to control all those lights from the dash.
Right?
That would rule.
Right? Seriously, I said that too.
Man, I like my minivan, but come on. All right. Yeah, I was hoping someone would bring this up. Adam Juice has the GameCube keyboard controller that people use for Phantasy Star Online 2 or whatever it was.
It's magical.
Yeah,
Just magical.
It's incredible. For audio listeners, this is a GameCube controller with an entire keyboard in the middle. So there's the...
Okay, so if you've seen the PlayStation Portal, what that did to a DualSense, imagine instead of a screen, there is just a QWERTY keyboard.
Yep, with the function keys and everything. Just an
like the
entire
F-Row.
keyboard. It is. It's bananas, but you can use this to type stuff out in PSO1, I guess.
Yes, correct.
No,
wanna play
PSO2 too. I do too. I was thinking about it a lot because there's a zone in Final Fantasy 14 that feels very Phantasy Star Online. And it made me think back to that game. And Phantasy Star Online, like in the Dreamcast GameCube era, was such a vibe that you just can't go home to. Like,
I was like, I never really played it, and so I'm like, I kind of want to see if I can do the closest recreation today and get us to play it on Giant Bomb or something.
You can't. Yeah, you can do that. But like, you can play vanilla PSO1, I think.
Yeah, I might try it. I still want to try to
servers
make that
running.
happen. Yeah.
Yeah, if there was a way, like through Dolphin, to do like a local version, that would be fun. Just to go back, fight that dragon again.
Ooh, yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay, we'll make it happen.
I know how to.
That's right. We talked about this before.
Yeah.
Okay. Bench JC says the Wii steering wheel controller that you put the Wii remote in that came with Mario Kart Wii, and I think this thing is the reason I never played Mario Kart Wii. I know you don't need to use it, but I hated the idea of this thing so much. I was just like, I'm out. I'm just going to keep playing these Call of Duties for now. But yeah, I don't know. Did people actually enjoy using this thing?
I think everyone told themselves they enjoyed using it because, like, this was the future we thought we wanted.
Right.
That you could just turn the wheel and, like, you know, like even when the Kinect was doing that shit, like just hold the invisible wheel and you're gonna turn it, and it's like, yeah, this is what we always thought would happen. Then we got it, and it's like, oh no, it's bad, but I have to do it.
I mean, it had to be just like digital input for the most part, right? Because it's like if you're leaning right,
no, it was full analog as far as I recall, because it had the accelerometer, it could do that.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like at a certain point, if like you keep, yeah, I guess it's like
there's
how
like
hard you're doing it. Yeah, there's a limit.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I hate this thing. I just hate looking at it.
I know, I do agree.
Two-time champ Beefhammer does say the Power Glove. The idea of playing Punch Out with that. How does that work at all? You have to like, how would you do the left hand?
Again, when you're a kid and you see that, your mind goes, "Oh, I'm gonna like punch.
I'm gonna be in the game.
It's gonna happen in the game," and it's just not.
Yeah, like the activator pad where you stand on that and you do the punch and kick. Like I'm gonna play fighting games this way.
Yeah,
it's like
I rented an activator. That was the dumbest thing.
That didn't work at all. Freedom McLiberty Ball says the Wii Vitality sensor. Now, come on. Do you have one that we don't know about?
Never came out.
Came out. Man, I wish I would have saw
that. That was like the absolute low point of Nintendo and the Wii for me. I mean, you know, low hanging fruit and all that. But boy, like, what were they thinking? That was at E3. They showed that off.
I kind of wish they would have released it. I wanted to like see what stupid stuff they would have done with it, but they were right to abandon it because that was not the answer to their problems.
If it would have been like the balance board, I don't think they would have done like a cool game with it. It would have been like breathing exercises or something.
Yeah, probably.
That's where they were at that time.
Doomidal Crossing has the Game Boy player for the GameCube, I believe. I never had this. I had the Super Game Boy.
It ruled so hard. Again, it's dumb, but it was just like, oh, I'm playing my Game Boy on my TV.
Yep.
And this was also like that era where like Game Boy Advance games were hard to see with the original hardware, but now it's crisp and clear. I could play Circle of the Moon now and see what's going on.
Yeah, that's I probably should have got this thing. I would have enjoyed it, but I was as soon as the Game Boy Advance SP came out, I was fine. I'm like, I'll just play on this thing, and then I don't have to worry about a TV at all. Matt in the Rare Zenless Zone does say the Super Game Boy, which is the equivalent for the Super Nintendo, but worked with Game Boy and Game Boy Color games, I believe. Yeah,
but that also would enhance the games that were programmed for it. So you play Donkey Kong 94, and Pauline actually said, "Help, help, help."
Yeah, that's
crazy stuff.
Yeah, that's right. And then I always just think about the color stuff, but yeah. And then if a game wasn't made for the Super Game Boy exactly, they would still have palette swaps you could do, because Game Boy basically is a grayscale of 4 different colors. And they would just replace those colors with different colors, so it didn't look that great.
Yeah,
but
well, that was like a game in and of itself. Was like, what's the right palette?
what's the one that looks the
game?
best? And none of them looked right.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
You still tried.
And then like games that have like those custom borders and stuff. And again, it was just that novelty of these Game Boy games are on my TV now. Look at this.
JD Camp says Guitar Hero on Tour for the Nintendo DS, and this is the
Fuck yeah.
yeah, I think you plug this thing into the Game Boy cartridge slot on the bottom, and then the Guitar Hero game would be in the DS slot, and you could and it has like the 4 buttons, and I guess you strum something. I've heard people love this thing.
Yeah,
the touch
it
screen
actually worked really, really well.
Eight.
You couldn't use with a DSi though, because you needed the Game Boy slot.
Right.
But yeah, like if you had this running, surprisingly comfortable to hold, and it actually worked. Yeah, they had it looked like a guitar pick, but it was just a stylus. So you hitting the buttons and strumming on the screen and watching the note highway on the other screen. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, I think I heard that people were like, it might cause hand cramps. And I was like, this thing's gonna make my hands explode just looking at it. So I think I just assumed
it did after a while. Yes.
Yeah. Man, Guitar Hero's a good game though. All right. Remind me to Super Game Boy or Game Boy Player. We can consider those as well.
Yeah.
Let's see. Mex says, is this the Pokey Walker? What is this thing, Sean?
Yes.
Yep, that's correct.
The little, a pedometer, is that what it's called? When it's a step tracker that you could get with.
We all had them at PAX East that year.
Yes, and you could walk around and train Pokemon while you were walking, and then you could transfer them back into the game.
Some little mini battles and things like that. Yeah.
Exactly. This thing is really cute. I always like the idea of this, although I never had one myself. I just like, oh yeah, that's what a good idea. Daniel says, is this a Smell-O-Vision thing for the Game Boy Color? What is happening here? This is a headset, a purple, like a bright purple, Barney the Dinosaur purple headset that wraps around a little girl's nose, like right across her nose.
Yeah.
And it's like a cone over the nose, and then it plugs into...
Is it a CPAP machine for kids?
Yeah.
What is this?
Honestly, it looks like the original Game Scent.
Okay. I remember this one because AVGN did a video on Game Boy peripherals, and he got his hands on this one, I think, or either talked about it. This is a nitrous oxide machine for kids to distract them while they get like dental work or some crap done.
Holy shit!
So like
what?
A medical professional administered it. Okay.
Yeah, I might be getting some part of that wrong, but yes, it is literally like
if you beat this level, you get a little higher.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has like a medical vibes to it. So
It
I was
does,
like,
yes.
That's why I said the CPAP thing.
Yeah, it definitely has that scent about it. And okay, then, fair enough.
Here's pediatric dentists create Game Boy with nitrous oxide feed.
Holy crap!
Oh my
All
god!
Right. Well,
that's actually what this is.
And I mean,
distraction, comfort, and sedation all at once.
It has the headphones as well, and it is plugged into the Game Boy. But I wonder if the nitrous oxide hose goes somewhere else. All right. Chaos Buckaroo has the Digit. What is this? The blood glucose monitoring system for the Nintendo DS. What the hell? This is from Bear. All right.
Well, think about it. We have this on our phones now. If you're diabetic,
we do. Yeah.
This is before smartphones. So just like you were ordering your snacks at a Mariners game, you were checking your blood sugar on your DS.
There was a lot of stuff like that on the DS. The DS had cookbook games and stuff like that, and New York Times crossword puzzle games. It was a lot of apps or the games that would later turn into smartphone apps on the App Store. So yeah, very strange, but not too odd when you think about it. All right, let's keep going here. Always be clothing / corgi says the Game Genie for the NES or Game Boy, a bunch of different stuff. Yeah, I had the Game Genie for the Game Boy and the NES. And yeah, it was a lot of fun to like try to track down. Basically, I think these things basically work the way trainers do now, which is you would be adjusting RAM while it was in the game, so that like you could adjust like your height, the jump of the height of your jump and things like that by just changing a couple of numbers in the RAM. But they would do the work for you, and you would have a list of games. And like the Game Boy one, you could see here if you're watching the video, there was a sticker you could put on the back of your cartridge. And I might have one of those cartridges that still has a Game Genie sticker in my collection. And you would just put those codes into the Game Genie as you were starting it up. Right,
because the Game Genie reversed it wasn't reversed, it was the right way still, but you saw the back of the cartridge.
Right.
I mean, we had, the books of codes. So like, you flip to the index, find your game, and there'd be a page of codes. Like, this is the one that made it so you had unlimited life, and this is the one that made it so that you could walk on water, and anything and everything like you could think it could be tweaked in a game. This thing did it. Also manufactured by Galoob.
Yeah,
and
Galoob.
I always thought that was a fun name to say. Galoob.
Yeah, Galoob. Nintendo sued Galoob about this and all that stuff. It became a whole thing. But yeah, Galoob made a handful of other things. I think this was their most successful product, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the some of the games I would do that for, and I'd be like, why am I doing this in Tetris? Tetris is fun because it's challenging, but you just did it. And then when new games would come out, you'd be like, how am I going to get the codes? And many magazines would actually print new codes that you could use in Game Genie. Yeah. All right.
Before the internet, that's how we had to get it.
Yep. Input name here has the Game Boy camera. I just like the way this thing looks. Very cool. And it did come in different colors, color green. Warden Cliff has the what is this? This is the transfer pack, right? Yeah.
Yep, this was mostly used for Pokemon.
Right.
You transfer your Pokemon to Stadium to
right.
battle on big screen. You could also use it in Mario Golf and Tennis, the RPGs on Game Boy. You could transfer your character into the N64 version and use their level up stats.
I think I did all of that. I think I tried that, and even in Pokemon Stadium. I think I even did
bunch
that.
of little things. My favorite canceled one was Perfect Dark was going to use the Game Boy camera with this to put your face in the game.
Yeah, that's right.
Then, and then I believe Columbine was what shut that out. So,
maybe when you put your teacher in there or whatever.
Yes.
Joy Z has the Worm Light or the Worm Glow Light or something like that from Nyko for the Game Boy Color. This is
one of these.
These are the ones that would plug right into the expansion port, right on the side of the Game Boy Color screen, and then it had the twisty worm-like sort of coil
spring thing.
Yeah, exactly. So you could hold it above the screen a little bit. These things were very popular on both this and the GBA before the SP. A ton of these things sold. Yep, here, God, man, what a good box for the from Driving D-Van for the Wavebird. This is cut the cord wireless controller. I love the way a GameCube looks like when it has 4 Wavebird receivers all plugged in at the same time.
Because they sat flush.
Right, just perfectly, like a little, it just looks like ruins or something. I don't know, I like it. Oh yeah, Dr. Ryan says the e-card reader, the e-reader for the Game Boy Advance, where you could have a whole deck of cards to scan in the code for Mario Brothers, not Super Mario Brothers, but Mario Brothers and things like that. There would be special levels you could scan in on the cards. And it was just like kind of similar to QR codes. It would have a bunch of information encoded in blocks, and the thing would read it, and it'd be like, okay, put in the next one, put in the next one, put in the next one. And the cards would say, all right, that was the last one. Now you can execute the program. It's a neat thing. I never really used it myself, but I always thought it was interesting. I like the idea of games coming on something like cards. Like, that was a cool idea.
Oh, I absolutely had one of these. And the whole process of you had to scan a dozen cards to play Mario, and you had to very slowly, one at a time, wait.
Right.
One at a time. Oh, read error. Yep. Do it again.
And then you're playing Mario Brothers, which you have on 7 different games at this point. Like every Super Mario Brothers Advance game had that built in. So.
But there was a generation of Pokemon cards, as I recall, that had the e-reader code on them. So I don't even know what you did with it, but you could scan those.
Yeah, I think Ice Climbers came on cards and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a wild thing. They were just doing stuff like that back then, man.
Yep, some weird stuff. This is from Kong Dong. The VRU accessory for the Nintendo 64. I don't know what this is.
Voice recognition unit. This is what allows you to plug a microphone in for use with Hey You Pikachu.
Hey You Pikachu. I recognize it now. Yes. Okay. Yeah. This is another one that I've always wanted to mess around with, but never have. But yeah.
More of a Seaman guy myself.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Weezeman says, yes, here there is the picture of the stack of Wii balance boards. This is how I will always remember these things. There's a pink one in there. Yeah, that's good stuff. T Money OG has the Game Boy Color Game Link, the link cable, which you could use, which people mostly used to transfer Pokemon. Like that's
absolutely.
Thing. Although I was always so like, oh man, the Game Boy Color comes with an IR receiver. You could do wireless transfer. I bet that was so unreliable. I don't think I ever used it. But
you had to like set it down on the table,
not touch it. Pray to like everyone
don't touch it. Don't walk lest you jostle the table. Don't breathe.
And it probably took way longer than a cable. Yeah.
Oh, it took ages. Yeah. It always bothered me as a kid because we only had one Game Boy that we shared. I had one other friend who had a Game Boy with Tetris, but like he wasn't like a super good friend, so I didn't hang out with them that much. So like I always wanted to play more multiplayer Game Boy, and we just never could. So I remember by the time we all had our own Game Boy Colors, and getting the link cables and trading Pokemon, like that was the thing. And then we had all the weird ways of like duping Pokemon, like you had to turn off the one Game Boy at the exact right moment before it could save, and you could dupe that way and all that good stuff.
I think the one time I did link cable multiplayer, maybe it was the one time I remember going to a friend's house and F1 racing, which was like, I think one of the things they advertised. I think he had that, and it could work without everyone having a copy of the game. And it was like very limited. But yeah, we played that some. At least that's how I remember it. It was a very
then the Game Boy
long time
Advance
ago.
cable did that thing where you could like, there was like a plug in the middle of the cable and you could daisy chain that way. And, there was a Bomberman game for the Game Boy Advance at the time that we were all very into, and we were going on a flight, and we realized it'd be a very bad idea to start talking about Bomberman and blowing each other up on this plane. So we coded it, and we just talked about Banana Man and slipping on banana peels, and that's how we
that's a good way to do it.
Avoided being arrested for flight terror.
Yeah, just
yes.
Hide your crimes in coded language. They love that.
Exactly.
All right, let's see here. This is from Breadfish. This is the Taito. I don't know. This is
so you know how train games are big in Japan?
Oh, is this a train game controller?
This is Taito's Densha to Go train controller.
Hell yeah.
That's incredible. That's really incredible.
Shout outs to all the train freaks out there. There you go. What game is in there, Sean? Can you tell?
Weird. Well, presumably it would be Densha de Go.
Okay, it would be that game. All right. Toshi says the Nintendo Bone controller. I think it's the one that came with the top loader, right?
The top loader, yeah.
The top loader controller.
It didn't, it was rounded, so it didn't dig into your hand after.
Right, the dog bone is I think is what a lot of people call it. Yeah. I like this controller a lot, although I have no issue with the original NES controller either. I
just have a permanent callus.
Right. It's just like, the damage has already been done.
Made me stronger. Yeah.
Octo says this fucking thing, which is the Wii, where the Wii Zapper, basically. Yes.
Zapper.
The Wii, where you put the Wii remote into the front part of a rifle-looking thing, and then the nunchuck goes into the back. And I remember thinking,
like, thread the cable through the handle.
Yes, I remember thinking, like, well, this is just how you're gonna play first-person shooters now. This is the future.
This is the future.
I was a dumb bitch, is what I was. This thing, honestly, the aim controller that PlayStation did for VR later looks a lot like this as well.
Just this. It was exactly that.
Yeah, it's exactly the same. But I had both, and I think the Zapper it felt better. I think. I don't remember.
Well, Link's Crossbow Training, which is the game this mostly worked with, right? That was actually a pretty decent game. So I think, that helps. Allie Miracle has just, I think, a Wii adapter cable that you could plug into fighting game sticks. It looks like so. Yeah, there you go. That's the way. Man, those are some good looking.
She's calling out just the Wii fight sticks in general, which one of which came with Tatsunoko vs. Capcom, I believe.
Right. Hammond of Texas says the Pokemon Snap printer. Is this where you could like print out stuff when you would take pictures of the Pokemon Snap? I think so.
Yeah, do you take your entire cartridge or just the memory card?
You could bring the entire cartridge. Yeah,
Okay.
that interface
Yeah, and
would
you
pop up
snapped
on
it
the
in,
machine.
and then you could print out your snaps from Pokemon.
It's
You know
a
what
it's a
Game
good
Boy-
kiosk.
Game Boy printer stickers look like, Jeff?
Yeah.
It's basically those, but in color and decent quality.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. Very cool. I
the Game
definitely
Boy
remember
wasn't the-
seeing these things in magazines, but I never saw one in person ever.
I was gonna bring it up after the fact, but the Game Boy printer, that was just like a thermal printer, right? Like receipt paper.
Yes.
It seemed like it, yeah.
Yeah, that thing ruled too. Just a novelty, just printing these digital pictures you took. Man, the simpler time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for real. Just the idea of like going to a place to print stuff out, or man, even like the printing out the Game Boy Color or Game Boy camera pictures was really fun. Clink says Donkey Konga, which is the Donkey Konga bongo drums, which I love these things. I love Donkey Konga, Donkey Kong Jungle Blast are great games. Both of them. I imported the bongos so I could play this game from Japan. It's just a really fantastic party game. And I remember we'd have on Ohio State campus, we would have like parties, and everyone would just take turns playing the bongos. It was a good time.
And that's what made these great. Like Donkey Kong goes like, oh, this is cool. Like music games are big, and Konga Jump, that's cool. But then when they actually made a working platformer that used these, you're like, okay, yeah, this rules.
Well, and it was a fantastic game because that was the team that would go on to make like Galaxy, I think. So. Yeah, very good stuff.
Yeah. Marino says in chat that this is his photo, that he took this photo.
Oh, really?
I believe, yes. Probably came out
Marino.
from the Jambom.
Almost certainly came from the wiki. Yeah.
Yeah, from the wiki. Also, speaking of Jambom and these Donkey Konga bongos, you should check the stream that Dan did playing this game. Yeah,
because they're playing in like they're playing in like the CNET offices or whatever, the New York offices, and like there's salespeople right outside, and they're just slamming the bongos so hard. They're trying to be quiet, but you can't really play these things quiet. Not really.
There's also people making podcasts and stuff on that building. So I think you can hear the bongos on the 404 podcast. That was
incredible.
Yeah,
I know Mike has the bongos. I wonder if he has both the games to hook up to his GameCube. Now I'm wondering. I gotta
find my Donkey Konga all the time. I don't find my Jungle Blast. I must have got rid of that. That sucks. But I could play this on Dolphin. And I think I have an adapter to plug this in through USB, so I may try that still.
Nice.
Teriyaki Blues has the Game Boy printer and Game Boy camera.
There it is. Yeah.
Yep. Adam GC. Oh, this is an interesting one. The Mario Kart World Tour. What is the name of this game? This is the remote control Mario Kart game for the Switch, where there was a camera behind on the back of the vehicle, so you could kind of see the action like you would in the Mario Kart game. But you're actually driving a physical thing around your room, and then you could set up the tracks by just driving it through once, and it's like, okay, now play the game, and then you could be playing a game of Mario Kart in your house. I got this a long time ago. We've only ever driven the cart around. I still have all of the pieces for the track put together somewhere. I've kind of been waiting for the girls to be old enough to really take advantage of that, and they're getting to that point now, so maybe we'll do that. Home circuit.
I never got it because my house is all carpet, so it wouldn't work well. But Mike did have this, and we played around with it in his place, and the cameras didn't work very well in low light. Other than that, though, it was shockingly well done.
You get a sense of speed
really
as well, and you look at the thing; it's not going very fast, but then you look at it through the game.
Right, it's just that low to the ground FOV kind of heightened it, and it worked. It really worked.
And it's fun, just running into things, and Mario animates he's stopping really fast, and then you look at it, it's like, wait, did he really do that? It's like, no, it's just in the game, but it's just a really good effect. That was from who was it? That was a team that used to be at not Volition, but Vicarious Visions, and then they went on to make this game and some other stuff. And then Major Arms 2 Blazers says, I second Mario Kart Home Circuit. Met Lawrence has the Wii Speak for the Wii voice channel for Animal Crossing City Folk for the Wii.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And this is like an omnidirectional or a bi-directional microphone that would sit on top of your TV when you're playing Wii. And people, I guess, would chat. But I was like, no, I'm happy to stay on my. I didn't play a lot of City Folk.
Nintendo allowed that.
Yeah, I was on the DS. I was happy there. XX Waifu Slayer 69420XX says the NES Zapper.
There's a beautiful boy.
Absolutely. Nolan has the Mad Catz light for the Game Boy Color, which has lights shooting in from the side. Boy, that looks rough. But this picture looks like they took it today. honestly. Maybe they did. Lenny Astro Dick Denver has, oh, that's right, the Taito a dial controller that you could use for Arkanoid on the DS. This is something I always wanted to try. But I hate the feeling of things like hanging far out of the DS or the Game Boy.
Right, because they feel like they're gonna break.
They feel like they're gonna break, and then you can't put it in your pocket. Now you got to be like, then you have to take it apart, and now I got two things to worry about. Like, nah, I'd rather not. B says the Wii U gamepad. Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, I think the main controller, so we probably wouldn't like. I don't know if we've done a Mount Rushmore of Nintendo controllers before. Maybe we'll do that at some point. And we can.
Yeah, you could
come back around to that. Icewind Dale Earnhardt says the Game Boy printer. Stinky says the Ring Fit Adventure Pilates ring. This thing, I actually love this thing. I use it all the time when I'm like just trying to like work out certain muscles like really quickly. I'll pick this thing up and kind of do like a bow and arrow thing, and it feels really good and it seems really sturdy, and it makes me want to get Ring Fit Adventure back out. But I haven't played that a ton. I just kind of use the ring. Screaming Madden also says the Donkey Konga bongos. Willow Davis has a picture of the Wii condom with an 18 plus symbol and a package of Astroglide lubrication gel. So
yes,
have fun with that, everybody. Super Harmon has the ASCII pad for the Super Nintendo, one of these like turbo controllers, right? There were a million.
Oh, I think I had that one.
Yeah, a lot of people had this one for sure.
It was just like programmable turbo buttons.
Yeah. Postman Dan has the U-Force. Yeah, I like the U-Force a little bit. And U-Force is the one that like functioned actually. So you could like hover your hand and it would like react the way you kind of thought it would. Most games still didn't play really well with this. It was way ahead of its time. Laser Wolf says the Rumble Pack. RT Bick has the Chainsaw Resident Evil controller. That's a pretty good one. Mostly you're supposed to use this when you're playing Mary, Kate, and Ashley on the GameCube.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Bayleaf Moon has Amiibo. That's interesting. Do we want to?
Yeah, I guess
that counts. Amiibo peripherals.
Sure, it can be.
Yeah, maybe we could put that up on the list. Big Tony, the Final Fantasy guy, says the Zapper. Days in Man 2 says the Game Boy Advance wireless adapter. Is this the wireless transfer?
That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Yep. So this came with Fire Red and Leaf Green, and it was used there for just wireless transfer. You could use it in place of a link cable. You could also use it for little lobbies that you and your characters get around in. And then for games that came out after this, only a small handful of them, it just worked like a wireless link cable and worked really well.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but it couldn't just be a link cable. The game had to be programmed for it.
Correct. Yeah, and third parties did make like replacement link cables that worked with any game, but this was the free pack-in that had to be coded for it. But in a post DS world is where a lot of those games came out. It was neat to have that on the GBA.
Resident Evil Cryorsis says the NES Zapper. Zayark says the Super Mario DDR pad. And then the thing's great. I never played with that pad, but I like looking at it. Turbo Sean says, I love the Power Glove. It's so bad, of course. And then Christian says the Guitar Hero on Tour controller for the DS. So a couple that we've already hit before. All right. Let's see here. Right now I have the NES Zapper, Power Glove, Rumble Pack, Game Boy Color, the Wii Remote with Wii Motion Plus, GameCube Wavebird controller, Wii Balance Board, Rob the Robot, and Donkey Konga bongos. Is there anything else we want to throw on the list before we start cutting back?
I think I see at least the 4, if not more, up there.
Yeah, I think so. I think we probably have our list here for the most part. All right, let's see here. Okay, well, which one do you want? Do you have one you want to lock in?
I think we lock in the Zapper. I think that's our George Washington.
I think so too. That's it would be impossible, I think, to have this list without the Zapper. It's just iconic beyond the confines of this podcast or even the gaming community. People who've just barely played video games recognize the Zapper, and many were like, well, "Hey, what's your favorite video game?" Well, I don't be like Duck Hunt with the Zapper controller. Like, yeah. So I think that has to go up there. I think the one I lean toward the most at this point is probably the Game Boy camera. I think.
Yeah, that was kind of my number 2.
Maybe the Wavebird, but no, yeah, I think it's the Game Boy camera. Again, just the ideal sort of the platonic ideal of a Nintendo peripheral, something that is objectively not great, and yet somehow they make it feel great and fun and important and nostalgic and something worth remembering. I remember Dan got a Game Boy camera working as his webcam for a stream on Twitch, and I love that. It's just whenever I think of the Game Boy camera, it makes me happy because there's just so much fun stuff going on there.
It's representative of that thing Nintendo's very good at, where they take something that has enough technology that's doing something you hadn't thought of, but you know it could be done better with even more technology thrown at it, but it didn't matter because they wrapped it up in a fun little package.
That's right. Yeah, we can put a Super Game Boy / Game Boy player in the running. Super Game Boy / Game Boy player. I'll just put that as 1, but we'll see.
Yeah.
All right. From here, like where are you kind of leaning? Because I could go in a lot of different directions.
I'm about to say we nixed the Wavebird because now I'm thinking that's more controller than peripheral, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's definitely on the line because it became sort of a default controller, especially like the way I handled it. But maybe we should just put controllers in their own bucket and kind of make this like, no, a peripheral is not the main way you interact with the video game. It is a special, different way. And the Wavebird just felt like the second controller for the GameCube. Like it felt, it honestly feels a lot like the Dogbone.
Like the DualShock.
Yeah, the DualShock, exactly, like the DualShock, which I would not consider to be a peripheral. This is equivalent to the DualShock. Okay, interesting. Mm-hmm. I think you're right. Okay, so that leaves us with for consideration Power Glove, Rumble Pack, Wii Remote with Wii Motion Plus. Should we say the same thing about that, or do we want to just say the Wii Motion Plus adapter?
I mean, you could just say Wii Motion Plus if you want to talk strictly peripheral.
Okay, well, we could do that then. And then
I will say, I don't think it gets up there.
I don't think it makes the cut either. Yeah, Wii Balance Board, Rob the Robot, Donkey Konga Bongos, Super Game Boy / Game Boy Player. I gotta say, Ash Guy, I think I really want the Donkey Konga Bongos on the list.
Just gonna say that's kind of like my gut pick here.
Okay, I think that's right.
It was Nintendo taking something that it did the obvious thing, and then they twisted it in a really good way too.
Right. It was them like the
height of music games.
Music games, and it was like this one has 3 inputs. There's a bongo on the side, on this side, a bongo on that side, and then a clap, a microphone you could activate with a clap. And so it's like, that's it. But you could do both bongos at the same time or hit them really fast. And all of those just different ways of interacting in that very simple way was like, oh, you can make some very complicated inputs still. Yeah, it was just really brilliant and simple.
Or as Dan Raker taught me, you can just yell clap really strong, and the bongo will think you're clapping.
That's right, and we all did.
Yell clap.
Yep. And yes, Jungle Beat is a fantastic platformer, and I want to replay it real bad. Mm-hmm. All right, that means we have 1 slot left. What are you thinking?
I mean, the Rumble Pack, I think, is important and iconic. And the Power Glove is iconic and ironic.
Yeah, I think it's probably the Rumble Pack.
I think so too.
I think we get yelled at if we don't put the Rumble Pack up there, actually.
Yeah.
And I think rightfully so. Now, a lot of people don't love the N64, but I think those who do recognize
there was just something so exciting about, hit the boost to chase, and the controller started shaking like the engines were struggling to give it all it's got. And yeah, that was great. It was so good.
All right, Ash Guy, do you want to read our Mount Rushmore of Nintendo peripherals?
Absolutely. The Mount Rushmore of Nintendo peripherals is as follows: the NES Zapper, the Game Boy Camera, the Donkey Konga Bongos, and the N64 Rumble Pack.
All right, not bad.
I feel good about that.
Me
I like
too.
It.
That looks exactly right at this point. It's a list. All those things I really like. All right, I'll get that posted on Twitter so people can yell at us. We'll take another quick break. When we get back, we'll talk about what we've been playing and hit the final super chats if there's any more of those right after this.
Break.
All right. Fantastic. Let's do this.
I'm curious to see how anyone could have a problem with this list.
Yeah, it feels canonical.
I feel like you guys nailed it.
Yeah, I think this is exactly
if
right.
someone really wants to argue for the Power Glove in there, I could understand a little bit, but
like,
what you take
you're
out.
right. Yeah. It's ironic. Yeah, it's it's just getting by on the cool factor, and that wears off as soon as you try to
And
use it.
I feel like the bongos fill that niche a little bit better, especially now we're in like GameCube nostalgia era.
Absolutely.
And they actually worked.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, wow. That never came up. Joshua Predham is right. The Super Scope never got mentioned.
Oh, I did mean to mention the Super Scope. I meant, but I was like, I'm like, either someone in the podcast producers will say it.
I was thinking of saying it, but I'm like, oh, well, you guys are gonna say Zapper, so
I mean, the Zapper kind of covers your light gun, but there was something about the Super Scope how you could like take it apart and rebuild all the configurations and
I mean, I think
the problem with Super Scope is that now it's probably more iconic as a smash weapon than it is as a peripheral.
And it's the Zapper is
more
just more
iconic as a movie prop.
Yeah, for me, the Super Scope is so nostalgic because that's when I was like able to take an old black and white CRT TV from the basement that no one was using, put it in my room, and I would like dial in over the air like antenna to watch like David Letterman and the Olympics late at night on a school night. And then I finally got my Super Nintendo hooked up to it, and I played Yoshi Safari in black and white with the Super Scope on a fucking black and white CRT TV. It was that is just such a powerful memory for me. So I like the Super Scope a lot.
I have to correct myself a little bit. The Menacer for the Genesis was the one that like you could reconfigure.
Right, that's the one you could reconfigure. Yeah. That's right. Yes.
The Super Scope just you take the scope off or on. Yeah.
All right.
Restart this segment then.
Okay, yeah, you're right. We got to throw everything out. No, okay. Do we have any more super chats? Should we hit those first? Let me check here.
I think
we just have
Michael joined the Lincoln tier.
We'll hit that real quick.
Tier, yeah.
Just hit that and then
and tell them
then we done.
Get some more super chats in here, guys.
Yeah, last chance.
This is your time to find out anything you want to know about Mike Minotti.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, let's see here. Here we go.
All right, let's go.
And we are back. Let me no, we'll leave that up for a second because people will be filing in because I posted that to Twitter. Real quick, no more super chats yet. If anyone wants to send any more of those, again, we'll get to all of them before the end of the program. But we did get a new Lincoln tier member here on YouTube when they joined the membership program there from Michael. Thank you so much, Michael. All right, Ash Guy, what have you been playing?
So my kids are very into Minecraft. Shocking, I know. Mike actually got my son Walter his own copy for his Switch for his birthday a few weeks back. So they're all playing together, which is rad because they like go in the basement and fart off and do it. But today, actually, they were all begging me to get a DLC pack that is a recreation of the Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World, officially licensed by Disney. So I said, fine. They apparently were very well behaved today, according to their mother, so they earned a little reward.
All right.
And this thing freaking rules. It's like legit, like get on the ride. We have the audio from the ride and just like go around the parks, meet characters, fill your autograph book.
How do I access
they're
this
having a
again?
blast.
How
it's
if I
in the
wanted to do
marketplace.
Okay, it's just in the marketplace, their store inside Minecraft.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, you go into the Minecraft marketplace. It was like $8, I think, of mine coins to get it. They did a similar thing with Universal. I think Mike streamed that when it came out for Universal Hollywood. But like it's funny because like, you know, when I was a kid and I came home from a Disney trip and I wanted to relive it, the best thing I had at the time was the Walt Disney World Explorer, which you probably heard us talk about 90s Disney. You know, now like kids will go on YouTube and watch ride videos, but now my kids are, you know, we came back from Disneyland a few weeks ago and now they're going in Minecraft to re-experience it, which is just wild. Like it's funny to me that Minecraft was a thing before my kids were even born, and it hasn't gone anywhere. Like you know, they're 9 and 6, and this is like what they do. Like 90% of their video game time is spent in Minecraft, which beats the hell out of Roblox. I'm really glad we're shifting that way more and more.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an incredible force, and it's amazing that it runs on the Switch at all, because it feels like there's not enough memory on that thing for like as big as some of these worlds are.
Yeah, I think don't they have to like limit the size of the worlds on the Switch? I thought maybe not.
Livy was saying something about her Switch being out of memory, that she was hitting some errors while she was running this. So I don't know if she needs to delete something or if it is like a little like out of like RAM.
RAM, yeah.
Like nothing you could do about it. Kids, don't play on a Switch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel bad because she she wants me to like buy Minecraft, which I have Game Pass, I have it, and like play with her. And it's like, listen, kid, like I played Minecraft. I played it with you. Daddy's not. I don't like the crafting games. I just don't. Once I'm chopping a tree down, I tried Pal World when it was new. I was like, I'm just chopping down trees again. This isn't for me. Sorry, kid.
Yeah, it is fun for me to watch Emmy sort of feel these games out because she has some games on her tablet, her Amazon Fire tablet with like the Kids Zone stuff. So she's like in that safe space, and I have the subscription, so she could try whatever game she can get on there. And there's several that are like inspired by Minecraft. There's one that her and Addie have been playing a ton. Emmy's been playing it literally for years now. Addie just started. That is like a 2D Minecraft, basically, that you can sort of take a character around and build stuff. And she's showing me how you can like hang from some of these things. So she's like, I made my bedroom and I made some monkey bars and I made a pool and it's like infinitely deep. It just goes down forever. And I'm like, very cool. I'm like, recently I'm like, you ever try Roblox or Minecraft? She's like, my friends talk about that. And I have tried them, and I ended up watching her. She's like, we'll go on Roblox, and she'll see like a kitty skin. She's like, I love kitties. I want to get that. And it's like kind of hard for her to figure that out. And I haven't played it enough to like help her really with Roblox. And I'm like,
listen, here's some parental advice for you: Minecraft good, Roblox bad.
Yeah, and I'm like,
stay away from Roblox. It sucks.
And I try to avoid like trying to like steer them away from stuff too much. But this is where I'm like, well, maybe, hey, well, you heard about Minecraft? Try that one instead. I definitely did that move. And she's been like poking into Minecraft here or there. And I think she's like not quite fully grasping like what like the other kids see in it yet, but she keeps going back to it. So I wonder if like
that's how my kids started. Like Minecraft for us when the girls were younger was, I'll fire it up on the TV on the Xbox and I'm gonna like make Wreck-It Ralph out of the blocks because I can draw pixels and that's cool. And then we built like a house and then they started picking up. Like Liv showed me her base the other day. She literally behind a waterfall carved out a secret base with like multiple rooms. They all have different purposes. There's a library, there's an armory. She installed a switch so she could turn the waterfall off if
incredible.
She wants to more easily expose the entrance. Like insane. I'm like, and she just learned it all on her own. I didn't help her with any of this. So it's a cool like. It truly is just digital Legos for these kids. And that's how they treat it. Like they just hack away and build stuff.
Yep. Someone chat's asking if I was meaning Terraria. No, there are a million of these knockoffs, and this is not this is not a knockoff. It's just a building game that in 2D, and so like it's just like clearly I think it's successful because of sort of the it's in the wake of Minecraft, but it's not trying to be exactly Minecraft. It's just a building game in 2D, and it doesn't even like look like Minecraft in any way. But
the other thing is like Livy, she gets very into like the history of Minecraft now, and she'll like if you're a family member and you get alone with Liv, she's just gonna start telling you about Minecraft. I laugh, but hell yeah, she's telling me like so, Dad, like Microsoft has Minecraft now, but it was actually made by Notch, and then Notch said, time out. What do you know about Notch? He doesn't play Minecraft anymore, and he's kind of weird. I'm like, okay, good.
Perfect.
Continue.
Nailed it. Yeah.
Make sure we don't have like some weird hero worship for Notch because he made Minecraft.
From the mouth of babes, Notch is weird is just the perfect way to put it. Yeah. Anything else you've been playing?
Yeah, I mean, not Nintendo, but I will bring up, I finished Final Fantasy XIV Dawn Trail. It is a much better second half than a front half. The front half was slow, and my issue with that part of the story is like your character is not the main character. It's Wook Lamont story at that point, but once you kind of shift into the back half of the story, it kind of gets into the whole thing I like about Final Fantasy XIV, where there's world-ending threats and cool lore stuff going on. I actually thought it moved a little too quick towards the end. I would have minded if that part took its time more. But I really enjoyed it. The dungeon and trial design in this expansion might be the best of the series so far. And they were always gonna have a hard time living up to the story of Endwalker and Shadowbringers because that was like a big climactic ending, and now you're kind of starting the next chapter. So it honestly just has me more excited to see what they're going to continue doing with this game because, yeah, I enjoy the hell out of it. It's so good.
Do you agree with the general consensus that like some of the writing is weak, or is it just like the nature of starting a new story, or what?
Like I said, part of it is the Wook Lamont as a character. She just feels obvious. It's the so typical, like she's so a quick setup. She's like in line to potentially succeed her father to rule this nation, but she's like kind of been sheltered and doesn't really know the people, and it's all like, wow, I talked to these people and learned about their culture and now I understand them, and she does that everywhere she goes, and it's like, okay, we get it. Like,
does it feel like it's setting up a lot of
14,
stuff to pay off later, like a lot of stuff that will pay off?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
So I don't want to spoil anything. I won't get into it, but I could definitely see how they're setting up where the story could potentially start going. Continuing threads from the first arc and building a new arc from that. There is a Christian, you'll know what I'm talking about. They reuse a lot of like kind of the same animations for the cutscenes because they're not all like bespoke. Like the big climactic ones more involved, but there is a animation they use for many characters often, but Wook Lamont especially, where they get frustrated with something and it's the Arthur meme of the clenched fists at the side. They do that so many times. It's like,
maybe I should
guys,
play this game. That sounds amazing.
We can express frustration in other ways than always zooming in on the and the thing is, it makes like that like flexing leather sound, but she's not wearing gloves, so I'm like, why is it making that
Leathery
sound
hand.
when she does it? I guess. But no, it's great. It's phenomenal. If you like Final Fantasy 14. Yeah, I know, yeah. Yeah, so she got the claw. She'd be like cutting her own hand if she did that. I don't know. It's still great. It's Final Fantasy 14. I love it. I'm still playing it. I have more to do in the expansion. I want to do the raid. It's
let's do the raid.
I'll do the raid. Yeah, we gotta wait for
I'll transfer to
catch up. I keep yelling at him like,
Mike.
Mike, what? Stop playing old games from 20 years ago and play Final Fantasy. I don't want to stream it. I don't think that'd be good on streams. Yeah, stream it.
Oh no, he's making his game
play
decisions based on what the audience wants now. Man.
Yeah.
It's completely corrupted.
The bigger the streamer, the smaller the heart for the video game.
Right.
Smallest heart in gaming, Mike Minotti. I've been playing Disco Elysium, and it's the final cut. When I previously played, I think one of the reasons I didn't go back to it is because I knew it was going to get updated with voices, and then I wasn't sure if my save would carry over. Obviously, I could have just looked this up and got an answer, and clearly it just works.
Like in minutes?
Yeah, in minutes, and I just didn't. I was like, I don't know, whatever. But it just works. I continued my save. I did have to like poke around and be like, wait, what's going on? There was no way I was going to restart. Well, yeah, because I looked at the clock, and apparently I played like 24 hours of this game. So it's like, there's no way I'm starting over.
You're in it,
Yeah, I'm in it. So I'll figure this out. Thankfully, there's the Kim Kitsuragi character. He's like, do you want me to recap stuff for you? He was like kind of aware the character doesn't have a memory. I'm like, well, guess what? I don't either. So we went over that stuff, and I'm getting my footing. I like the loop of like, here's a check. It's a white check. And if your character can, they'll give me the percentage of the chance you're going to succeed. It's two 6-sided dice you're going to roll, and the white check means if you fail, you could try it again. But in order to try it again, you have to upgrade a very specific thing. So I'll get to a place where I'm talking to somebody. I'm like, man, if I can get this white check, maybe I'll get some more information that's going to open up more of the world. And a lot of times I'll fail them. And like, okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go complete some of these smaller things in the world so I can upgrade my character, and I'll put the point into the thing that will let me try that white check again. And it kind of like gets you in a good loop of working on the main quest, working on some of these side quests, trying to figure out what's going on in the murder, coming back over here. Oh, and now I put points into this thing, and it opened up some possibilities that I wasn't even expecting in some of these other areas. And then I started like looking at my inventory a little bit more and inspecting some of the items I had. And I don't think I might have done this a little bit before, but I hadn't like exhausted all the options there, and realizing like, oh, there's so much more going on in my inventory than I realized. It's just such an in-depth game. And I think people will be like, Jeff, you don't like talkie games. And that's definitely true. I'll give you that. And this is a very talky game. But what it is, it's a systems-driven game. And that's what I really like in gaming. As long as it has strong systems, I'll find a way usually to come around most of the time. And this thing is just all systems. It's like, here's this dialogue interface system, and here's the die, and here is your upgrade system, and here's your character that your sidekick character that you talk with and kind of can push off of. And I'm like, okay, all these things sort of butting heads against one another keeps things very interesting. And then it doesn't hurt that it's just got fucking fantastic writing, where you can feel like every line of dialogue, every sort of descriptor, all of the emotional characters that represent, like, here's the half light character, which is a character that represents, okay, I say character, but it's just a manifestation of your character's a fight or flight reflex, their desire to like either scare people or to just run away from a situation, and all that stuff is so well written and now voice acted in a really excellent way with like all these very, very dramatic takes on all these things. It's a fantastic game, and I get why people like it so much. And as I'm playing, I'm like, man, I wish we can get a million more of games like this in different settings, even using IP, because again, I'm a basic bitch. Give me a Star Wars game like this and all that stuff. Like, I'm glad it's Disco Elysium. I'm glad it's its own thing. It is a very strong personality for a game. But I'm like, man, I would love to have these systems kind of in a bunch of different settings. It's just not going to happen. It doesn't seem like, but I'm glad this game exists.
I own this game, and I've yet to actually ever play it. It's been like one of my top of the pile of shame games for a very long time.
Yeah, I mean,
so hearing you say this has me kind of now motivated to, now that I'm done with 14, maybe to fire this up.
Yeah, and I think it's once you kind of get in that groove of, oh, I am interested in solving this murder, which is the main thing in the game. It's the first thing you're going to see is there's a dead body, and you need to figure out who killed it, and then. Oh, there's so much else going on in this world with like a union strike, a labor strike in this corporation, and there's this traffic jam for some reason. What's going on there? And there's this little kid Cunha who just constantly yells and berates you, makes you feel like an idiot, even though he's a teenager. But he sucks real bad. But you got to keep talking about him because he's the one person who kind of seems to know what happened with this dead body. Once you get in the groove of that loop of investigating the main murder and then kind of bounce around to all these other side things, so that you can be more powerful to take on the main case again, it becomes a game that's very hard to put down. So now every time I turn on my Steam Deck and it's right there, I just keep playing that, even though I have several games that I want to be playing right now, including Star Wars Outlaws, which I can't talk about yet, but I got review code for that. Started playing that. Would love to keep playing that, and I am. I'm playing that here and there, but I'm still playing quite a bit of Disco Elysium at the same time.
Nice.
Yeah, Mechanized has a good point. Rainy day game, it's perfect for something like that. Yeah, just when you're in the mood to like read a book, in the mood for something intellectual, but still like has a hard edge to it, this is definitely that game. Nice. And then I played the Plucky Squire. I have the preview code for that.
Oh, is it?
And it's
so excited for this.
It's really good. It is exactly what they promised, where you're going through the storybook. It's very Zelda. It feels pretty good. And then you get pushed out of the book, and then you're running around the room. I am still pretty early in that part of it, so I'm like, how complex, how challenging is this going to get? Because right now it feels pretty linear, pretty basic on that side of things. But in terms of them delivering on the promise, it definitely does that. It is so cute when you're in the story. Excuse me, so cute, so well animated, so well drawn, and the action is like it's like really solid. It feels really good. Rolling into combat, rolling out, getting improvements for your sword. You can throw your sword. It does the Kratos thing where you can throw your sword and it gets stuck in something, and then you can recall it by hitting the button, or to hit the attack button, it'll recall it, and that just feels good as well. It's really well done so far. I'm going to keep playing it right now because I'm still in like the preview period, and I think eventually they're going to revoke this code. So I'm going to try to play as much of it as I can. But it's one that I'm enjoying. And then it was just like moths to the flame. My kids like glanced over like, what is this? They could not help themselves. They basically took the controller away from me and started playing.
That's funny.
Yeah, I think it's one that like the kids will have to be like pretty well versed in games, because there's some challenges that will come along. Like, wait, what do I do here? I have to solve some puzzles. But they wanted to figure it out, and they were kind of butting their heads against it. And it just has such a strong appeal that I think it's going to be very popular. It could have like Goose Game level success, I think, because it's just going to be one that everyone's going to see and find very like an affinity for, because it just looks so nice.
Right.
Yep.
I forgot this was coming to PlayStation Plus as well. So
yep. Everyone's just going to be able to play
good. I'm set. Yeah, let's go.
Exactly. All right. Sorry, I've got my croc here, everybody. Didn't mean to show you that.
Is that your croc phone?
That's my croc phone. Yeah. Hello, Foot.
Do you want to hear a little bit about my visit to Super Nintendo World?
I do. Yeah,
Universal
that's right.
Studios
Yeah,
I
have the episode of you talking about going to Disneyland with the family and the father. I haven't listened to that yet, but it's primed, ready to go. but yeah, how did Super Nintendo Land go?
We talked about in the latest episode 90s Disney a bit, but for the interest of this show, I'll talk about just that part of the park. This is in Hollywood at Universal Studios, and it is very cool. it was a very hot day, Jeff. It was like mid 90s. The Californians are like, wow, it's usually not this hot here. Like,
shit.
you don't say. I am sweating buckets and burning up. And you've been there, so you kind of familiarize yourself with it. It felt like an oven because it's like there's no shade in this land. There's a little bit from these mushrooms, but not really. But we got our power up bands and we got to the land, and like, you know, walking through that warp pipe and coming out into it is a really cool reveal. Just seeing like overwhelmed by all the kinetic energy of the place. That was cool. And we got in line to get one of the challenge coins where we had to hit a POW block to make a
How
shell
long was that
come up
wait?
the pipe and hit a Koopa. That was about 10 minutes.
Oh, wow. Okay,
And-
I could survive that. When we were there, clearly early days, it was going to be very packed. It was like 45 minutes for each one of those.
Right. So one of the things we really want to do, the kids really were keen on doing, was eating a Toadstool Cafe. And the way they work it is you have to scan a QR code to join a wait list to get a time. And apparently they go quickly. Well, I did some research on Reddit, found the URL that QR code resolves to. So from our hotel before we even left that morning.
Wow, you got to
I
keep
was
this
able
stuff
to
on the
pull up
down low.
the
This is
page.
everyone. Hey, these are the rules of the
this
podcast.
stays here.
This
This
stays
stays
here.
here.
All right, everybody. So I'm going to do that too.
But yeah, I was able to get our reservation for 12:30. So like, sweet, we're in. Like we got it. We're gonna have lunch there. It's gonna be great. So we did the coin, and at this point it was about 12:20. So we were like, okay, well, let's head over to the restaurant. We could probably start like, you know, lining up and get in. There is 2 lines coming out the door, and this single employee who has no crowd management skill, who's trying to say, okay, if you have a 12:15 reservation, I need you wait in this line. If you're 12:30, wait in this one. And like, she wasn't very loud, wasn't very commanding. People were just like a mass of humanity. Finally, someone came out and like got the lines organized, but like the line just didn't move. We were just outside in the sun for 25-30 minutes before finally
rough.
the line started inching in. So we get inside the building, still have to wait in the line where Captain or Chef Toad is just talking to me, and I can't understand a word he's saying because it's so loud inside. You finally get to where you can order. So we order our food, and my dad and I are kind of finishing the ordering. We told my wife and my stepmom, like, why don't you take the kids and go get a table, and then we'll bring the drinks over. So they go, and then I have this tray full of drinks, and now another lady's like, okay, just wait in this line to get a table. And I'm like, oh crap. So we have to like get them back, wait in another line, get the table, we sit down, we waited a little bit for the food to come out. And like, once you're in, it's great, because it's like there's like these fake windows that are looking out in the Mushroom Kingdom. It's basically just playing the Mario Galaxy soundtrack, so that's great. Every so often Bowser would attack outside and it would get all dark,
it does
and the toads would start freaking out.
It does the Rainforest Cafe thing where occasionally like turns dark and everyone freaks out. Yeah.
So for my meal, I was like, oh, I'll get the Bowser's Fireball Challenge, which was like a giant meatball with like a mushroom marinara sauce. It had some hot sauce on the side and a puff pastry. I'm like, okay, like it's gonna be spicy, I guess. Like, whatever. You know, like how you would put like breadcrumbs in a meatball? Yeah. Imagine if you sub the breadcrumbs for red pepper flakes. Like, it was shoot hot. Okay. Like, I could handle my spice. And I think I had a few
bites. I think Dan ordered that, and I had a few bites of that. And I was like, that's pretty spicy.
Yeah, you think like it's gonna be theme park hot? No, it was like, oh god,
no,
like,
this would kill Tim Walls. Tim Walls would be a dead man. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. I had the Mountain Beanpole cake dessert though. That was really
all
good.
of the desserts are very good.
So,
we ordered all of them because we were doing the video. But, it's all good.
So like I said, the food was fine, the atmosphere is cool, but it took 2 hours, the entirety of the whole, from the moment we got in that line to the
I didn't
moment
think that would happen. That's crazy.
Right. And it kind of like screwed up the day a bit because it just took up, like, it's so weird. We have so many lessons in theme park crowd control, and it's like Universal is like, forget that. We're going back to the 90s, baby.
And I don't remember ours being like that. Ours was, we were only 4 people and no kids. Or maybe we were 5. Either way, it was just several adults, and I don't remember there being any issue with like getting a table. I think we did go get our own table, so maybe they have changed things since we went, and it sounds like they've done some stuff for the worse. Yeah,
I don't know. Like, I mean, in general, it's felt like a crowded day there, and it's just like they just had no good setup for this, which is odd, very odd.
Yeah.
If it was the kind of place where I could have just like walked up, ordered food, sat down, 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
But just the disorganization killed it. But
if you're gonna go, I think you still got to do it because it's like one of the better things they have in Super Nintendo World.
Yeah, I mean, go in the off season. I mean, we were there on the weekend in the summer, so it was pretty crowded. But the good thing was, so we always try to get the Universal Express Pass when we go to Universal. That's their skip the line thing. Mario Kart had been excluded from that until the end of July. They added it. So that was like a relief because it meant like, okay, we don't have to like get to the park first thing when it opens in the morning. Like we got there later in the morning so we could take our time. So with a 3-hour posted wait, we waited about 20 minutes maybe, which was great. So Mike had kind of given me like the basic gist of what this ride was going to be like as far as, he didn't tell me the details, but like he kind of set my expectations. I think that helped because I got on it and I freaking loved this ride. I thought it was so cool. So cool. I thought the augmented reality, I could see it wasn't perfect, but it was like good enough where truly by the time you got halfway through the ride, I wasn't thinking about it anymore. Good. It was just, you just saw these characters and they were on the ride with you. And that was cool. The weird highlights for me, I actually thought the very beginning when you actually like started the race and they did the 3, 2, 1, the car kind of like lurches back and the AR makes it look like you move like forward. So all of a sudden, like that worked well. Actually, it was really fun. I was riding next to my daughter, Sophia, and we got to the Cloud Top Cruise section. And she turns to me, she's like, Dad, it's your favorite track from the game. I'm like, I know, you're right. This is so great.
Yeah, it's the best track.
You know, you end on Rainbow Road, and we got enough points that we won the race.
Oh,
and
that's
like,
fun.
Yeah, everyone enjoyed that. That was fun.
Good,
but then we got out of the ride, and at first the kids are like, let's get the other 2 challenge coins so we could fight Bowser Jr. Okay. So we get another line. This was for the giant piranha plant. And we were in the line for 15 minutes. We're like halfway through. We're out in the sun. The children turned to me and said, Dad, this is too hot and taking too long. Let's skip it.
Like, okay. Then you know you're done. You know you're cooked at that point.
So
okay.
My ultimate review of the one in Hollywood is like, it feels like they didn't have enough space, but they did it anyway.
Clear they didn't, yeah. Yep.
And I'm really hoping when this opens in Orlando with the Yoshi ride, more space in the Donkey Kong Country section, and it has that little bit more room to breathe.
Yep.
It's gonna be really good because like you watch the promo videos, it's like these people are like, oh look, a PAL block. What happens when I hit that? Oh, we got a coin. It's
That's
like no,
never gonna happen. Nope.
Yeah, you're standing in a line, and it doesn't feel as organic.
Right. There's like a PAL block over by like the bathroom maybe that you can like find or something like that.
Yeah, it doesn't like really do anything.
No.
Oh, I was also mad too because I tapped my power band to the steering wheel in Mario Kart. But I didn't realize it didn't register, so I did not get my sticker for winning the race.
Oh my god! Okay,
so what are we doing?
Get a refund.
Yeah, like, what's the point of that?
Exactly. Or just give me a sticker.
Yeah, I should have gotten all the money.
All
back.
the money back. Yeah. All right. Well,
having said again, it was a fun experience. Like I said, the ride was really cool. It's worth checking out. I would just, if it looks crowded, don't force Toadstool Cafe. Just worry about the ride.
Yeah, if it's like super crowded like that, that's for 2 hours. That's too much. But I love Toadstool Cafe on our stuff, but we were not like in any of those situations, so it was pretty easy. And I didn't even have to like QR code. I think Jan did all the work, so it was kind of easy on my side.
There you go.
All right. I think that's gonna do it for us. Oh, do we get another super chat?
Super chat.
Yeah, we got one more.
All right, hit us with that. All right, that's all right. I'm supposed to read these. The Irate Observer says, "Hey AJ, are you playing Fantasy Premier League this year? How's your team looking?" There it is.
I am not doing Fantasy Premier League. We do a fantasy football league for American football. Jeff is actually part of our league. This is his second year.
The Super Bowl last year, yeah.
That's right. Except, unfortunately, the best time for the majority of people to do our draft is Labor Day weekend because we have a lot of out-of-town people. But you and Mike will be in PAX, so yes, I'm sorry you're missing the draft.
All right, we'll make it work.
But I do that. Although, again, Liverpool had a win on their first match on opening day with our new coach. It was a rough first half, but a very nice second half. So we'll see. But I'm very excited for this season. I do enjoy my Liverpool.
Excellent. All right, I'm hitting the button. Ash Guy, tell people where they can find you on the internet, what you have going on, all that good stuff.
Yeah, go to 90sdisney.com to check out 90s Disney. We talked about the rest of my trip, and we reacted to the D23 announcements. And our next episode is going to be our outdoor cocktail party where we do some Disney drinks and make them and drink them, and that'll be fun.
Oh, I love that. You guys have done one of those before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. It was very, very fun that you guys just got all those recipes and made them. Giant Bomb is celebrating. August, we'll be playing some spooky games tomorrow. Probably some more on Thursday. On Friday, we'll be playing Killer Clowns from Outer Space for UPF. Next week is B Week, everybody. Buzz. Get the kids. They're all buzzing. Actually, shirts, B Week shirts are in the store, store.giantbob.com. It's pretty good stuff. I had to make an embroidery file. I had to figure out how that worked. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Is Donald Duck for real?
I'm gonna go B mode.
I'll beat it first.
People shouldn't drink water. A lot of chords going into slots.
TOLKOTO.
We're coming.